Ugh, Fang Qi thought for a moment and said, have you seen a pale grey rock? The force in it might be strange. He told them what he wanted without revealing too much information. Pale grey rock? Strange force. Disciples of the Nanhua faction and the Black Dragon office looked at each other. They had thought that he would ask for some powerful spiritual treasure and were surprised that he only wanted a useless rock. However, Huang Putao and the Nanhua heavenly fairy, Lu Ningyun, became wary. Huang Putao looked Fang Qi up and down and said in a deep voice, I indeed have such a rock, but I wonder how you know about it. I think you came here to obtain this rock, right? Huang Putao had indeed acquired this rock by accident, but he didn't know what it could be used for. The force it contained was very strange and mysterious, and he had kept it, thinking that it had some great uses that he didn't know about. Some time ago, one of his friends, an elder of the Nanhua faction, borrowed the rock from him to study it, and Lu Ningyun had come today to return this special rock. Obviously, even the Nanhua faction couldn't understand the mystery in the rock. Fang Qi was prepared for their questions and said, if I say that I can sense the presence emitting from the rock, would you believe it? Huang Putao and Lu Ningyun looked at each other. This was the most reasonable explanation since neither of them could have possibly leaked the information about the rock. Therefore, Huang Putao believed him. Since I have no use for the rock, I can give it to you, Huang Putao said. No. Still weak, Lu Ningyun glared at Fang Qi and said, I lost the battle, so I must provide the treasure. It seems like this guy came for this rock on purpose. I'm afraid that he won't take other stuff. Huang Putao shook his head and said. This, Lu Ningyun glared at Fang Qi in hatred, angry that he would choose something that she didn't have. For years, I've been wondering about this rock's use. Since you've been searching for it, you must know about it. Can you tell me its use to satisfy my curiosity? Seeing the hesitation on Fang Qi's face, he offered, if you agree, I can also give you another treasure. If you refuse, I'll just let it be. Another treasure. Fang Qi's eyes lit up. Can you give me a dragon bone? Slave of greed. Money lover. The people cursed him silently. Fang Qi said, I can tell you its use since this rock is useless to other people anyway. I have the method to make a personal teleportation array, and I need this rock to make it. Teleportation array. Huang Putao and Lu Ningyun looked at each other again. They were surprised since the method of making teleportation arrays had been long lost. They wondered what force was behind Fang Qi. Can you tell us which faction you come from? I'm Fang Qi, the shop owner of Origins Internet Club. Mr. Fang took the opportunity to advertise his shop, and he pointed at Lu Ningyun, saying, this girl is very powerful. If she can be like me and learn the sword control technique and godly sword lightning controlling true spell by reading the heavenly book and practicing the sword techniques, she will double her strength in no time. Mr. Fang, do you have a spiritual spell shop? Huang Putao was displeased and said, are you telling me that those spells you used just now are for sale? He didn't believe that one would sell their ultimate techniques. Mr. Fang said, I assure you that all of you can master these spells. The people were stupefied, especially Lu Ningyun. She thought, you said that everyone can master this spiritual spell that is on the same level as my Nanhua heavenly light? You mean that the most precious spell of our Nanhua faction is only a common spell for sale in your shop? Unable to bear the anger, she sneered and said, Mr. Fang, do you mean that every customer of your shop knows these techniques? Not really. She was displeased. Then, how can you say that you could ensure us that everyone can master these techniques? However, she was tempted to have a look at this shop. Where's your shop, Mr. Fang? Huang Putao was quite eager to learn Fang Qi sword control technique. I want to go and visit. It's in the 36th block of Half City. Half City. The disciples of the Nanhua faction retreated several steps as if they had seen a ghost. Don't be alarmed. As a neighbor of Half City, Huang Putao knew the real situation of this city. However, isn't the 36th block Qin Honglan's territory? He asked tentatively, is Mr. Qin good and well? That old demon Qin Honglan. Nanhua heavenly fairy had disdain in her eyes. Fang Qi said, that guy? I destroyed him when he came to make trouble in my shop. Huang Putao went silent, and he began to believe that Fang Qi's shop was quite extraordinary since not a lot of people would say such a thing for fun. Nanhua fairy, do you have the interest to visit this shop? Huang Putao asked since he had nothing urgent to tend to. Senior Sister Lu. One of the disciples said, we still have something to do, we're delayed anyway. Lu Ningyun said in a cold voice, it doesn't matter if we're delayed further. She wanted to see what tricks Fang Qi was playing. This way, Fang Qi lured two groups of people to go back with him. Directed by Mr. Fang's sword spell, the innumerable sword scroll that he mastered immediately split the rune word broadsword into dozens. Get on board. Fang Qi said, I must hurry back to collect vegetables. Hurry up. Huang Putao, Lu Ningyun, all the other people, swoosh. They instantly flew up into the clouds. Meanwhile, in a place in the Morning Star Sea realm close to Black Dragon City, the dark clouds covered the sky and turned the whole sea area into a ghost realm. In the death-like silence, a voice sounded as if it floated up from the netherworld, will he come? Don't worry. This is the only route back to Half City. In the distant sky, several sword beams flew toward them swiftly. Here he comes. Cold sneers sounded from the gloomy clouds. Let's report back to Palace Master with that kid's head. Suddenly, Fang Qi and the others plunged into a big dark cloud, they could see nothing in the darkness. A few figures appeared from the darkness, as if they had come from the netherworld. So stupid. He delivered himself to us. Then, we'd better take this gift. Cackle, it's not possible to get out of the serene cloud soul refining array. Huang Putao stretched his arms. This route isn't peaceful, Mr. Fang said, the robbers in the city are stupid. Lu Ningyun said weakly, it seems that we have another hard battle before us. A figure rose before them and stared at them for a while. He has a few weak people as company. They can die with him. Huang Putao's face turned dark. He had planned to reserve his strength, but he was furious when he heard that they planned to kill him. He condensed tremendous spiritual energy into his palm, and a huge black palm fell from the sky, blocking the sunshine. Boom! With some squishing sounds, the huge gloomy cloud in the sky was smashed by the huge palm like a dough. With horrified screams, the big array collapsed as if it were crushed by a huge mountain. Many ghosts and souls fled with shrills. Boom! They were exploded, and the bodies fell like dumplings. Damn it! How dare you try to rob me, Huang Putao! This is what you get! She was reluctant to talk to him. Even when she talked, she sounded combative. Fang Qi shrugged and said with a straight face, in fact, I could have dumped you here and escaped alone. Shameless! Despicable! Some disciples of the Nanhua faction instantly cussed him. I can't believe that he could talk about escaping with such dignity and righteousness. Fang Qi was at a loss for words. How come the people in your faction are like dull ducks? What did you say? Do you want to provoke us? They arrived at the shop while bickering. Indifferent of this atmosphere, Fang Qi yawned and took them to the shop. The clean street paved with white stones and the neat shop fronts made a good impression on the disciples of Nanhua faction who had never been here before. People are not allowed to fly in the sky above the city, right? One disciple asked curiously. I don't know. Fang Qi explained, I was prepared to fight with anyone who tried to stop me, but I found that no one cared. The disciples of the Nanhua faction were silent. Behind them, Huang Putao's face twitched, thinking, it's probably that no one dares to stop you. After you destroyed Qin Honglan, who would dare to mind your business in the outer city? Hello. Sir. Hello. Guild President. Upon entering the shop, the warm greetings sounded, making the atmosphere very friendly. The disciples of Nanhua faction were amazed at the scene as they had never seen anything like. Senior Brother Li. It's so big inside. The arrangement in here is very strange. It's a spatial array, someone gasped behind them. Surprised, Zhou Mo looked at the people behind Fang Qi. Boss, these are... Oh. Fang Qi touched his head. I forgot to introduce them. They are some new friends I made when I was out of the city. Su Ji said, unbelievable. Ruan Ning said, even old demon Fang has friends. Such beautiful friends. Incredible. They came up instantly, especially Ruan Ning. She walked over with a bowl of instant noodles and said, the girl walking in the front is so beautiful. Eating a spicy stick, Su Yao said in envy, she has such a good temperament. Xiu snorted. Did he lure her from somewhere? I feel like I had seen her before somewhere. A pair of beautiful eyes glanced at Fang Qi with chilling coldness. Who's your friend? Don't flatter yourself. Fang Qi stared at her eyes and froze. Then, he started anew, sorry, let me introduce again. This girl is not my friend, she came with me for some unknown reason after being defeated by me. Lu Ningyun's vision dimmed, and she almost fainted from fury. Other people thought, let's be friends. At this moment, Huang Putao, a considerate and experienced person, walked up and smoothed things over. You wouldn't have known each other without that fight. Mr. Fang, you have so many people in your shop. He hurriedly changed the topic. Ruan Ning was resentful that she had to manage this shop for Fang Qi and thus had no time to manage her own shop. She walked over with a bowl of instant noodles and bumped Lu Ningyun's arm, whispering, don't be mad. Old Demon Fang is just an old pervert. She tried her best to defame Mr. Fang. Ahem. Before she could finish, she saw murderous eyes glancing toward her. I misspoke. He is handsome and rich, she immediately changed her words. Lu Ningyun sniffed and smelled a special fragrance. After spending a whole day chasing after Fang Qi and battling hard with him, she was fatigued with great consumption of her spiritual energy. The fragrance of food made her even more aware of her hunger. She looked at the red-clothed girl standing beside her and asked, what's in your bowl? It smells so good. All the other disciples of the Nanhua faction also stared at the instant noodles. It's my shop's special Laotan Chinese sauerkraut instant noodles, Fang Qi said, do you want a bowl, Nanhua Fairy? Nanhua Fairy. All the people nearby looked toward her in surprise. Is she the super genius of Nanhua faction? It's heard that she has understood Nanhua heavenly light at a young age, and no one is her match. She's really beautiful and elegant. I can't believe that she is in our half-city. All of them swarmed up and looked at her as if she was a rare animal. Sitting on the couch, Lu Ningyun snorted in disdain. Just from the name, I know that it's not something good. Before she could finish, Huang Putao came over with a bowl of noodles. Slurp. I've never tasted something as delicious as this. It's indeed a delicacy. Ha 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 ha. Surprise suddenly appeared on Huang Putao's face. The instant noodles. What? Castellan Huang Pu. Lu Ningyun's face turned cold when she saw Huang Putao's expression changing drastically. Did this guy poison you? No. Huang Putao exclaimed, the noodles can even purify the spiritual energy in my body and solidify my foundation. Unbelievable. Really unbelievable. What? All the disciples of the Nanhua faction stood up from their seats. Lu Ningyun said, I'll take a bowl of instant noodles. Slurp. Slurp. The noodles are so delicious. 10 minutes later, she drank the last spoon of soup in the bowl and said, Sir, one more bowl for me. Fang Qi looked at her round belly and then at her face. Lu Ningyun blushed immediately. Each customer can only have one each day, Mr. Fang said honestly. At this moment, a white-haired old man sat down on the couch with a bowl of instant noodles in his hands. Huang Putao looked him up and down. Your brother Mo. Mo Tianxing looked up. Castellan Huang Pu. So good to see you here. Brother Mo, you're also a customer of this shop? Huang Putao said curiously. Mo Tianxing looked embarrassed. Old Yu Kangshan dragged me here to play the Legend of Mir 2. He did poorly in the game, so he joined the guild. Castellan Huang Pu, are you here to play the Legend of Mir 2 too? 2. Of course. Huang Putao was still embarrassed when he recalled last night's incident. He was a grandmaster who had cultivated for hundreds of years, but he chased after a junior for one night and fell in exhaustion. No one would believe the story if he told it to others. He must learn the sword control technique, which would be highly useful no matter if he was chasing or fleeing. Who could stop him then? As for the powerful godly sword lightning controlling true spell, he heard that it could be learned here, and he certainly wanted to obtain this powerful technique. Play the Legend of Mir 2. Huang Putao asked, is the stuff in the Legend of Mir 2 better than the sword control technique? I'm not sure. You have to ask that girl little Ruan. Mo Tianxing shook his head and tossed the question to Ruan Ning. Huang Putao and others immediately looked at Ruan Ning curiously. Not at all. Ruan Ning said, I watched a few episodes of Jade Dynasty and found that the spiritual spells in it are very powerful. But the problem is, she continued with a frown, I can't learn them in a short time. The sword control technique isn't easy to learn as well. I thought about it for one night and still can't understand it. It's about controlling things, but the method is different from controlling spiritual artifacts. The structure of their spiritual artifacts is different from ours, and I think I still need time to study it. Mo Tianxing nodded and said, that's true. I can learn the spiritual spells in the Legend of Mir 2 quickly. Each of the spiritual spells in the game is simple, quick, and powerful, and they are good for battles of spells. So, that's the difference. The others got a general idea of the stuff in the shop. I have to go now. Mo Tianxing had finished his noodles. I must go and level up. Soon, Huang Putao with the cultivators of Black Dragon Office and Lu Ningyun with the cultivators of the Nanhua faction began their first computer experience under Mr. Fang's instructions. Well, don't say that I didn't take care of you. Take my advice and grow vegetables first after getting online. Then watch a TV series or play the game. Remember to collect vegetables later. Under Mr. Fang's guidance, they soon turned from newbies to experienced players. They first grew vegetables and then watched the TV series. Then, they found Mr. Fang and talked about the plot with him. Of course, Mr. Fang stole their vegetables as he did with others. Meanwhile, in the Death Valley at Mengchong Province in the Legend of Mir 2. The Death Valley had a more famous nickname, Centipede Cave. According to the legends, this was the underground tunnel leading to the Viper Valley in Mengchong Province, and the cave was filled with large groups of centipedes, evil worms, and pincher worms that preyed on people who entered the cave by mistake. Wang Jin came with a large group of people. Big Boss Black Demon, I've seen this guy several times, and his name is Young Master Song. He must be the thief who stole your vegetables. They saw some warriors killing centipedes in front of them. When they clicked on the option of displaying names above players' heads, they found that one of them was a warrior named Young Master Song. In the Ling Yun Academy group chat in QQ, a group of people gathered in a small channel named Shop Owner Punitive Expedition. Song Qing Feng killed the centipedes in boredom and asked, Sister Su, do you see him? He was supposed to call her auntie, but all the people who called her that received beatings. Su Tianji replied, I'll send a message to ask little Xiao. Nanlin Mingxiu said, it's said the shop owner went out to play yesterday. Today, he should be online. Bai Lang added, I searched the city and didn't see him. At this moment, Song Qing Feng saw a blue lightning bolt crashing onto his head. Before he could react, another lightning bolt crashed down. Hit by 2 lightning bolts, Song Qingfeng instantly lost half of his HP. Meanwhile, he was knocked down by a centipede. F***ck. I'm being attacked. Song Qingfeng yelled in QQ while he gulped down a bottle of red potion. Where? The players who gathered in QQ to beat the shop owner were eager to engage in a fight. With so many of us here, someone dares to mess with us. We're in the narrow Death Valley. Lin Xiao yelled. Su Tianji asked, we're not far from you. How many are there? Nalan Mingxiu added, we'll fly over immediately. Xi Qi said, old song, can you hold on for a while? F***ck. I took the chance and escaped using a random teleportation scroll. They have more than 10 people. We are not their match, Song Qingfeng yelled. Let's go. They were bored from simply leveling up each day. Nalan Mingxiu yelled, there are many of them. You guys gather at the entrance of the Death Valley. People of Lingyun Academy, come and gather at the entrance of Death Valley. On the other side, in Black Demon's channel in QQ, Wang Jin yelled, Big Boss. The guy named Song fled. Interrupt it. I told you to interrupt his chanting. Black Demon said with a dark expression, 1/ could have done it. In the virtual reality remake of the game, the lightning technique and weapons could hit the enemy's hands and sent the random teleportation scrolls or the town teleportation scrolls flying. But obviously, they were one step too late. The others are his friends. Wang Jin yelled, we can't let them flee too. Lin Xiao had just taken out a random teleportation scroll when a lightning bolt struck his hand. The swift lightning bolt instantly knocked the scroll from his hand. Then, about 10 lightning bolts crashed down. F***ck. I died, and my items dropped. After respawning, he howled, my ultimate Grim Reaper glove dropped. Come and gather at the entrance of Death Valley after respawning. Nalan Mingxiu yelled, we can charge in when we have 20 people. Soon, a group of people gathered together. Let's go to the narrow valley. A while later, about 10 warriors and 10 wizards and Taoists swarmed in and charged toward the dozen or so wizards and Taoists of Black Demon. They are over there. Those few. Song Qingfeng rushed in as well when he saw the backup. Kill that guy called Grandpa Jin. Lin Xiao yelled, he killed me. Firewall. Use the firewall and shoot explosion flames. Su Tianji commanded and took control. Warriors. Charge with me. Nalan Mingxiu lifted her Zanmaidao, and the 2 women commanded in turns. Instantly, the dim valley was lit up by flames and lightning bolts. The sword light fell like a curtain. The wizards launched attacks first, and then the warriors charged. On the other side in the Black Devil QQ channel came a yell in alarm, Black Demon guards. Come to the Death Valley to kill them. Hurry up. We're outnumbered. F***ck. Black Demon's face fell when he saw a female warrior standing before him with a smile. You want to run? Resistance Fire Ring. Subconsciously, Black Demon used the Resistance Fire Ring, but he found that he couldn't push his enemy away. Nalan Mingxiu hacked at him again. Then, a lightning bolt crashed down. Nalan Mingxiu stopped her charge. Sister Su. Watch out. You almost hit me. I'm watching. Su Tianji launched another explosion flame and Black Demon who had little HP left, died with a scream. Did he drop any items? Su Tianji asked. Nalan Mingxiu took out a curved wooden staff from the backpack. Devil staff with magic 2 to 5 and luck +1. Magic staff. I've never seen such a weapon before. It has high-level properties, and it even gives extra luck. On the other side, Song Qingfeng quickly cleared the battlefield. What do you think? Shall we stay here and wait for them to deliver more items to us? Let's return to the city first. Don't leave any people here. Nalan Mingxiu's bright eyes flashed. The wizard that Sister So killed is Big Boss Black Demon from the Morning Star Sea Realm, and I guess that hundreds of them will come. At this moment, Mr. Fang was rushing toward the lowest level of Wilma Temple with his teammates. Since they obtained the Enchanting Light skill book, Mr. Fang never saw such a skill book again. Therefore, the only wizard with the Enchanting Light had enchanted 2 huge multi-horn insects and 5 evil worms. As for the Tiger Guard, Guild President, can the Enchanting Light kill the Tiger Guard by accident? Xiu was sulky. She had made a special trip to the Tiger Guard Hall but killed the Tiger Guard by accident when she used the Enchanting Light. Yeah, sort of. In fact, the Tiger Guard was more vulnerable to the Enchanting Light than the ordinary monsters. It was why the monsters in their small team were all low-leveled. Guild President, are we here to level up? By now, they had reached the 2nd level. We're here to get the cornet. Fang Qi was planning to establish a guild in the game, and the Wilma cornet was a necessity. The Wilma clan master was a powerful demon who was regarded as a god by its followers. These followers had tried to resurrect the Wilma clan master by sacrificing the lives of 10,000 followers. Although the Wilma clan master couldn't walk out of the temple, it could destroy the human world if it had the chance to regain its strength. The lightning bolts that it released could kill people easily. There circulated many myths about the Wilma clan master on this continent, and it would be the first boss that the players could encounter. Compared to the Wilma clan master, the Corpse Kings were nothing. Sitting together in the internet cafe with the girls in his guild, Fang Qi said, "Come here. This is the entrance of the 3rd layer." Ugh! How come someone else are here to kill monsters? Mr. Fang was surprised that some other people came here before he did. In the center of the hall on the 3rd level, a huge demon with 2 wings, bull's hooves, a human body, and 2 horns was charging swiftly toward a little wizard who had a crescent moon, wizard weapon, in his hand. Its huge body stepped on the ground, and the entire palace shook continuously. Several other wizards and Taoists were attacking the demon, and they were obviously from the same team. "Sir, what should we do? There are people who are already hitting it." Xiu frowned. F***ck. Fang Qi was sulky, and he wondered if he should come back tomorrow. Before he could finish his words, that wizard glanced at them and said, "This place now belongs to the White Dragon office. Get out of here now. Ruan Ning." Xiu. Then, Mr. Fang stepped in the escape route of the wizard, who was being chased by the Wilma clan master. With a savage collision, he pushed the wizard back toward the clan master. The Wilma clan master caught up and struck out its palm. "Ah!" A scream sounded. Mr. Fang brushed the dust off his hands and picked up the item that was dropped on the ground. He found that it belonged to a wizard named Zhuge Bai. In a corner of the internet cafe, F***ck. A cultivator wearing a white robe exploded in fury. "I was ambushed by a scummy warrior named If you aren't vicious, you can't stand still. Kill him for me." Immediately, about 10 people who had been battling with Wilma clan master all charged forward. Soon, the area above the scummy warrior Mr. Fang's head was lit up by several lightning flashes. "Come on! Concentrate all attacks with me and kill the Taoist named Xue Shuilong on the left. Lightning spell. Concentrate. Concentrate the damage. Heal me, Xiaoyu. Sis Xi. Stall his skeletons with enchanting light. Get the worms to bite them. Good job. We killed one." Beside them, the people of the Black Dragon Palace and the Nanhua faction who were watching the TV series couldn't hold back anymore. "What's this upheaval?" They looked over and saw that the screens were filled with flames and lightning bolts. "What's this thing?" Meanwhile in Black Demon's channel in QQ, F***ck. "They are gone." Black Demon brought about 100 people to the narrow valley, but his enemies were long gone. Black Demon roared, "My magic staff dropped. It took us a long time to find him, and now he's gone again." Wang Jin said in a dark expression, where can we find him now? How about? One black demon guard had an idea. We can put a price on their heads on the World Channel. Good idea. Black Demon yelled, announce for me on the World Channel, and put prices on the three scumbags, Young Master Song, New Snow and UG Immortal. Anyone who gives us their locations will be rewarded with 400,000 gold coins. Soon, the World Channel in QQ was flooded with the notice. Wanted, anyone who reports the locations of Young Master Song, New Snow and UG Immortal will be rewarded with 400,000 gold coins. Anyone who kills them can get 1 million gold coins with a screenshot of the scene. The notice flooded the screen and attracted the attention of all the players. Song Qingfeng was now leveling up in another place. After being attacked by strangers, he looked at the World Channel and cussed, F***ck. In a channel in QQ, Song Qingfeng yelled, I have a price on my head. Nalan Mingxiu said, me too. Su Tianji. Soon, they received congratulation messages, and the most infuriating one came from Mr. Fang, friend. I need money lately. Can you help me out? Akita Inu's dirty smile, the three of them replied together, get out. Scummy shop owner. At this moment, Nalan Mingxiu saw a stranger's name jumping on her friend list. The royal princess asked, do you need help? Ugh. In the Corpse King Hall, the ground was covered by the bodies of Corpse Kings, and most of the royal guards had obtained all the skills below level 30. Yu Qi asked them, do you want to kill the scumbags from the Morning Star Sea Realm? Yes. I have been planning to kill those bastards of the Morning Star Sea Realm. I'm bored of leveling up each day. After receiving Jiyu's message, Nalan Mingxiu sent her a question mark before asking, how many people do you have? 300. Jiyu sent her a cool emoji. If you want, I can summon about 2,000. Smiling face with sunglasses. Nalan Mingxiu's frown deepened, feeling like it was like training soldiers instead of dealing with grudges in the game. Okay, she put in one word immediately. At this moment, Jiwu had a solemn expression on his face while he held a secret intelligence report in his hand. He inhaled deeply and said, I'll go and see Alliance Master Lan. On the top of the secret intelligence report was a message, Yundian Upper Realm sent a troop of 20 warships and 100 spiritual transportation boats. Besides, she saw that the spiritual spells the players used were quite powerful. More importantly, as Mo Tianxing mentioned, they were simple and easy to learn. After all, when they battled with people, they couldn't always use super powerful spiritual spells or treasures. Overkill was one thing, and the consumption of energy was another big issue. That was why these simple and highly efficient small spiritual spells became the top choice of the cultivators. You can try it yourself. Even though their team had 7 monsters enchanted by Xiu's enchanting light, it was a hard battle against Wilma Clan Master without Tiger Guard and Eagle Guard. Su Ji answered their questions with short sentences while she put most of her energy in the battle. Tomorrow. Lu Ningyan thought for a moment. We'll try this game tomorrow after finish watching the TV series. Are you using these small spiritual spells to deal with this demon? A female disciple of the Nanhua faction looked at the huge demon who was launching lightning bolts with its palms, and each dodge of its attacks seemed like a narrow escape. Isn't it dangerous? We can sharpen our combat skills this way. Lu Ningyun knew that cultivators mostly used these spiritual spells in ordinary battles. If she hadn't encountered Fang Qi, who was a weird exception, she probably wouldn't have had a chance to use Nanhua Heavenly Light in years. Then, she saw 2 huge insects with big horns and 5 black worms helping the team fight. What are these? They are Sister Xi's pets. Su Ji explained, enchanting light can enchant 7 monsters that are as powerful as her. These monsters can also be strengthened by 4 levels, reaching level 7. They are super powerful after all the transformations. Much stronger than before. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten this skill book again. Su Ji looked sulky. It seems that this technique is hard to get. 7 monsters. The same level as their master. Lu Ningyun froze. What did it mean? If she could learn this spiritual spell, would it mean that she could control 7 demon beasts of the true lake realm? Besides, these 7 monsters could even get stronger later on. She shivered while she imagined the scenario in which 7 strengthened true lake realm monsters surrounded her enemies. Each technique in this shop is horrifyingly powerful. Xiaoyu, the clan master is going after you. Be careful. The Wilma clan master wasn't as stupid as the Corpse Kings. Even though Mr. Fang blocked its advance, it would try its best to attack the wizards who were casting highly damaging spells at it from behind Fang Qi. None of the girls would survive after getting attacked by it. Under the Wilma clan master's powerful lightning spell, the worms suffered great casualties while the 2 level 7 multi-horn insects looked fatigued and almost exploded. Several times, even Mr. Fang was almost killed by the super powerful lightning attacks. At this moment, the Wilma clan master's HP hit the bottom. Whoosh! Suddenly, it flashed. As if it used the teleportation spell of the wizards, it instantly appeared before the wizards. Crack! 1 lightning bolt shot from its claws, and Suji died. The others behind Fang Qi were in a panic. F***CK. Run to me. Let the skeletons charge forward. Don't panic. Its HP is almost empty. Move according to plan. Get to a safe position before attacking. The resurrected Wilma clan master was only a weakened demon, and it finally dropped to the ground with a scream under their concentrated attacks. After it fell, a surge of tremendous force entered their bodies. The disciples of the Nanhua faction were watching and were surprised. What's happening? This presence? How come I feel like a group of people achieved breakthroughs together? I broke through. Xiu exclaimed in pleasure, so many experience points. I broke through too. Ruanning yelled. I died. Suji had tears on her face. The people of the Nanhua faction and the Black Dragon office were surprised. Can people break through in this way? Dragon's Ring. Wilma Cornet. There were other items such as Azura, weapon, and Demon Conquer, weapon, and Fang Qi picked them up one by one. Then, he saw a small yellow book lying on the ground. Summon Godly Beast. All of them came over. Summon Godly Beast. Fang Qi was surprised that Summon Godly Beast skill book was dropped by the Wilma clan master. It's a pity that it isn't the flame sword technique. Sulkily, Mr. Fang tossed the book toward Zhang Xiaoyu, hoping that they could soon find the flame sword technique skill book. Then, he could use it to light his cigarettes. It would be cool. We'll try to get Sis Suyao a Summon Godly Beast skill book next time. Now, let's go and establish the guild. The Wilma cornet was a demon's horn that looked like a bull horn. According to the legend, if people dripped blood on it and swore, they would unite as one. When one devoted member used spiritual spells or attacks, they wouldn't hurt the other members. In short, the special force in this demon's horn could protect the members of the guild from being accidentally injured by other members by making it easier for the guild to fight big battles. Messages flooded the world channel. Awesome! What on earth is a guild? Where can we build one? In Earth City of the Mengchong province, the guild members had a guild badge of the dragon-slaying saber pinned on their chest. Behind their names in the game, there was a line of words, spelling out Heaven-Defying Online Games Guild. Wow! So awesome! The first guild! So quick! We can play the game this way. Many players obviously hadn't heard of such things before. Do you need more people? Can I join you? Xiu, Suji, and the other members felt quite proud and honored when people, including the grand cultivators from big forces in Half City, looked at them with envy. Even Ruan Ning, who always complained about Mr. Fang, looked smug. Zhang Xiaoyu stood very straight as if she were worried that the others couldn't see the eye-catching badge. At this moment, about 100 black demon guards gathered outside Sarbark city. The people yelled in the Black Demon channel in QQ, Where is that kid? In the Ling Yun Academy channel in QQ, Nalan Mingxiu and the others couldn't stop their smiles. Song Qingfeng said, Come and let's get the loot. Obviously, they leaked their own locations to Black Demon. In one corner of Sarbark city, hundreds of royal guards stood in a neat square formation. Yu Qi roared, Defend! Rows of fireballs were shot into the sky, forming orange characters. The hundreds of guards seemed to be engulfed by the firelight. Demon! Waves of rune notes flew into the sky while pale blue flames burned and formed huge blue ancient characters. The light shone on the people's faces and turned them blue. A square formation of royal guards charged out as one and soon crashed into the hundreds of black demon guards. Attack! Shouts sounded in the Black Demon channel on QQ. Where are the skeletons? Push them forward. They had been searching for people and didn't form a proper array. When they cast the spiritual spells, the attacks were random and ineffective, and part of their spells, such as fireballs and fire rune notes, could be blocked by weapons. Soon, the royal guards who had armor and magic resistance buffs charged toward them. In the royal team channel, Yu Qi yelled, Warriors surround them. Wizards launch techniques toward the center of the crowd. Many of the royal guards were equipped with complete skills. When they launched the AoE skills, area of effect, such as firewall and explosion flames into the dense crowd of black demon guards, the latter was instantly knocked down. Black Demon's face turned gloomy. By his side, Wang Jin yelled, They seem to be people of the royal clan. That warrior named Royal Guard Captain Yu is from the royal clan. They are the royal guards of Dajin. Remaining black demon guards, use random teleportation scrolls and get out. Black Demon roared. Retreat! Retreat! Damn it! Those scumbags from the tiny forces even dragged the royal clan into the battle. Black Demon cussed indignantly in frustration, They tricked me. Boss, what should we do? From the looks of it, they were no match even if they called all the black demon guards here. Get more people! Get more people! Black Demon roared in fury, Call all the people of Yuanheng Pavilion, Coiled Dragon Office, and other forces. Get them to come and join the United Troops channel. You want to fight? Let's make it a war. In the Dajin Command channel, Gong He and the elders of the Liu Yundaist Palace and Cloud Ocean faction were called in. Even Su Tianji was called into the Dajin Command channel. In about half an hour, about 1,000 people gathered outside of Sarbark city including royal guards, the Zhuhua army, and people from big forces such as the Liu Yundaist Palace and Cloud Ocean faction. On the other side, the Morning Star Sea Realm soon formed a troop of 1,000 people. Although they didn't attack, a storm was brewing before Sarbark city. In the Taxa faction it was now autumn, and most of the plants in the world had withered from the chilling winds, but cold temperatures couldn't affect the green and vibrant plants here. The green spiritual plants and blooming flowers in all kinds of colors grew cheerfully around the clear lake at the foot of the green mountain. An old man wearing a white robe with golden patterns on it was fishing by the lake. A little boy and a little girl stood behind him at attendance. The old man stared at the different kinds of fish that were swimming in the water and tossed out a handful of fish bait. Soon, herds of fish and shrimp swam toward him. He pulled up the fishing rod, but there was no hook attached. Sitting by the lake, he watched the fish and shrimps fight for food in the water, and his face, which looked distant with thousands of years of worldly experience and filled with vicissitude, revealed a trace of interest. Master, we've finished the investigation of junior brother Fang Qi, a disciple came from outside. He practiced jobbery and even lost the demon-suppressing cauldron, right? The old man looked at the lake with a smile as if he knew everything. You knew it. The disciple was surprised. I don't understand why you still allow junior brother Fang Qi to do what he has done. At this moment, a golden carp leaped out of the water. He pointed at the golden carp and said, Look! This fish jumped out of the water and saw the world outside, but it still has to return to the lake. While he spoke, he tossed out the bamboo basket by his side and caught the golden carp before it fell back into the lake. Then, the basket continued to fly forward toward the center of the lake. "What do you see now?" "This," the disciple said, "Master, the fish was caught by the bamboo basket and can't return to the lake." "Yet, it was caught by the basket and doesn't need to return to the lake." He casually tossed out some bait into the center of the lake. At this moment, the bamboo basket was flying past this spot. The water in the center of the lake surged up while a huge weird fish with horns leaped up and swallowed the bait and the bamboo basket together. He slowly put away the fishing gear and said, "It's not easy to raise the fish in this lake." Meanwhile, Ji Wu sat together with the leaders of the Wu Daist Alliance, and even in Huawei, the Castellan of Zhuhua City, appeared here. "I think all of you know about the situation," Ji Wu said in his deep voice. "According to an urgent report, Yundian Upper Realms troops will soon come to the border of our country. I think you all know their purpose." "Your Majesty, you mean?" Lan Mo looked grim. "It's a joke. Yundian Upper Realm gained so many benefits from Cultivation Realm, and we get their leftovers." Ji Wu sneered, "Now that we have found a new way to strengthen our country, they have no right to make us give it up. In my opinion, these guys are just jealous." Jun Yangzi sneered, "If they want to fight, we will fight." Ruanning was recruiting members in Earth City of the Mengchong province. Guild President, Dajin country seems to have engaged in another war with this side. Didn't they fight not long ago? They are doing it again so soon. Xiu frowned. Guild President, should we go there? Yet. Why not? Fang Qi sipped on the coke and said, "Wait a moment for me. We'll go and watch the battle after I steal some vegetables." Soon, he entered Su Tianji's small yard which was empty since she was in the battle. He dug out a big daikon. Then, Mr. Fang entered Song King Feng's small yard which was also empty with its owner in the battle. He dug out a big sweet potato. Then, he walked into Nalan Mingxiu's fenced field. Bark! Bark! A black and white puppy came up with a wagging tail. It was a cute husky. She got a dog as well. Mr. Fang was surprised. Then, he walked into the vegetable garden. "I'll get you a peach to eat." Woo! Woo! The dog bit into the peach while wagging its tail. Unsatisfied, it bit into the vegetables in the garden and pulled out a daikon. Meanwhile, Mr. Fang also pulled out a big daikon. Then, he ran with 2 daikon in his arms. "Good dog! I'll bring you food next time." The little husky looked very excited. He looked back and saw that all the vegetables in the garden were ravaged. "Who's the next one?" Mr. Fang thought for a second and entered a yard. A girl in red stared at Fang Qi with disdain on her face. "Guild President, what do you want to do? Do you want to steal my vegetables from under my nose?" "Sorry. I walked into the wrong place," Mr. Fang mumbled to himself. "I should have told them to go watch the battle, and I would go later. I wasn't thinking clearly." Then, he glanced at the people of the Nanhua faction and Black Dragon office who were watching the TV series. He entered their yards and found that their vegetables were still in the field. The big holes that he had dug while stealing the daikon from them before were still there. They still haven't collected their vegetables. Mr. Fang immediately put down the virtual reality headset and walked over to them. "Guys, you can collect the vegetables now." "Oh, can we? So soon? I forgot about it while watching the TV series." They exclaimed and immediately went to collect vegetables. "Remember to grow new vegetables after collecting," Mr. Fang reminded them. Disciples from Nanhua faction said, "Thank you for your reminder, sir." Lu Ningyun was suspicious. "How come he's so warm and helpful?" Huang Putao said, "Thank you." "Good, Fang Qi would have new vegetables to steal next time." By the way, should we go back and collect vegetables? Beside them sat Nalan Mingxiu and Lan Yan, and they both yelled, "Let's go and collect vegetables." Shen Qingqing looked worried. "Did the shop owner steal from us again?" Nalan Mingxiu said mildly, "I'm afraid that he won't dare to come anymore." Ugh! Shen Qingqing and the others looked at her in surprise. "I bought a dog yesterday," Nalan Mingxiu's lips curved with smugness while she explained. "You had enough money to buy a dog?" Shen Qingqing asked in surprise. "She bought a small one," Lan Yan explained for her. "I checked the information, and it said that this dog will be as ferocious as a wolf when it grows up. It is enough to guard the courtyard." "Really?" Shen Qingqing said in resentment, "I wish it would bite him. Then, I'll see if he dares to steal vegetables from us in the future." "Did you buy a dog too?" Dong Qingli heard their conversation and asked, "Is it cute? Is it as silly as the shop owner's dog?" "Ugh!" Nalan Mingxiu said, "It's okay. It's very cute." Lan Yan added, "It's young and loves to play. Do you want to come and have a look?" "Good." The girls accepted the invitations and came to Nalan Mingxiu's xone. Ms. Nalan's dog is very obedient except that it likes to nibble on things. Lan Yan told them in excitement, "It's chubby and very cute." While she spoke, they walked into the courtyard. Yuan Yuan. Yuan. Then, she was stupefied. The whole vegetable field was ravaged, and it looked as if a tornado had swept through it. What happened? Where's the dog? Did that villain Fang Qi hit it? Lan Yan was worried about the dog. A black and white silly dog was sitting on the ground. Seeing its master, it wagged its tail wildly and trotted up as if it wanted to show off its achievement. When it saw Nalan Mingxiu, it rubbed itself on her snow-white boots. Woo! Woo! With half a piece of a vegetable leaf hanging from its mouth, it looked up at her with big, watery eyes. Nalan Mingxiu had the urge to stomp this silly dog with her foot. Looking at its face that seemed like it was asking for a compliment, she was torn between laughing and giving it a lesson. She stood facing the wind in stupefaction. At this moment, a beep sounded in QQ. It came from Mr. Fang. "When did you buy the husky? It's super cute." Then, he sent a picture in which he and the little husky each held a daikon, saying, "It can even help its master pull out daikons." Nalan Mingxiu, who was always calm and collected, couldn't remain cool anymore. "Ha ha ha ha." Mr. Fang sent a meme of the Akita Inu's laughing face, very happy at her misfortune and misery. "I will tell you one thing, the husky will work with me." How dare she use a husky to guard her home? Don't be smug. Akita Inu's disdainful face, Akita Inu's ferocious face, in Nalan Mingxiu's xone, the dog is so cute. With stars in her eyes, Dong Qingli picked it up and put it in her arms, not caring that it was dirty. So warm. Look at its face. It's more fun than Mr. Fang's memes. What are Mr. Fang's memes? Lan Yan was baffled. The pictures that Mr. Fang uses every day. Lan Yan was at a loss for words. In her mind, the funny face of the Akita Inu that Mr. Fang used every day and the sneaky smile on Mr. Fang's face after stealing vegetables came together, and the two pictures had an equal sign connecting them. Ha 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 ha. She laughed so hard she that bent her back. Then, all the people in the field understood the joke and laughed as hard as they could. It seemed to be the only way that could alleviate their misery of being robbed by Mr. Fang. Oblivious to the fact that the girls were making fun of him, Mr. Fang was now browsing the items in the shop. He remembered that one could buy computers and even games such as Street Fighter in the shop. After glancing at the prices, he found that the computers were expensive. He could barely buy one with the big fortune that he made by growing and stealing vegetables every day. After buying the computer, he had no money left to buy games. The objects for pure entertainment were rather cheap, but other games such as Street Fighter were expensive since they could unlock new features after certain conditions were met. Therefore, Mr. Fang reached out his evil hands toward a very cheap little game which looked like a set of poker cards, Happy fight the landlord. Since he was chatting with Nalan Mingxiu in QQ, he sent her a message, want to come and play fight the landlord. What's that? A small game to test players' IQs. Mr. Fang tempted her with a straight face. Testing IQ? This is obviously a way to provoke me. It must be a trick, Akita Inu's disdainful face, damn. On the other side, seeing that she had only about 10 minutes of computer time left, Su Tianji sat down on the bed in her xone and sulked. She sprawled on the bed. What's wrong with me? I don't want to cultivate or battle. She rolled over and got up. On the verge of going offline, she suddenly felt bored with life. She cursed when she remembered that she had to go to battle in a few days, damn it. Instead of being worried about the crisis, she just wanted to sleep. In QQ, Mr. Fang suddenly sent her a message. Want to come and play fight the landlord? Smiling face with open mouth and smiling eyes. Su Tianji asked, what's that? It's a little game to test players' IQs. Mr. Fang replied with a straight face. Come on. I called young Master Song and others too. I'll get offline in 10 minutes, what game can I play? Su Tianji lost interest. Don't worry. We can play several rounds in 10 minutes. Ugh. Really? Coming. After Fang Qi explained the rules to them, they learned the game fast. Soon, voices sounded in Mr. Fang's room. I call landlord. I will rob it. Plain. Trio with a single card. Pass. Little joker. Big joker. What's fun about this game? Xiao Yulv mumbled to himself while he watched them play, it's just a bit more complicated than Pai Gao. TL note, Pai Gao is a Chinese gambling game, played with a set of 32 Chinese dominoes. It is played in major casinos in China, the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. On the next day, Xiao Yulv sat down on the couch with a set of cards identical to the ones that Fang Qi played with yesterday. Come on! Let's play fight the landlord. Anyone who has finished their computer time or can't get online, come and play fight the landlord with me. Meanwhile, Mr. Fang was counting his winnings. Playing 2 more days of cards and I will be able to buy Street Fighter. His QQ was flooded with the messages. Scummy shop owner. Return our hard-earned money. Fortunately, the shop was well managed under the system's surveillance. Otherwise, Zhou Mo would have been overwhelmed. Meanwhile, in the Zhuhua City shop, the big forces including the Royal Guards, Zhuhua Army and Cloud Ocean faction were also expanding, leveling up, and trying to obtain more skill books. They busied themselves with the practice of spiritual spells and combat techniques. Half City and Zhuhua City were at peace, which was quite unusual. It felt like the calm before a storm. In this world, peace couldn't exist on its own, it could only be achieved through wars. 100 spiritual transportation boats and 20 warships? If people could see the large group of spiritual boats crossing the border of Yuan Upper Realm, they would know how wrong the intelligence report was. With their ability, Yuan Upper Realm certainly could hide information from Dajin. On the bow of a huge warship in the lead stood a white-faced deist who was about 50 years old. He was Gongyang Jun, and he said, that little guy Jiwu is probably pleased that he has obtained the information about our movement. Standing beside him, the middle-aged cultivator with a wide face, a wide forehead, and a black and white robe was Gong Shikuo. When Ji Xiantong was alive, he was respectful to us, but this kid is so audacious that he even dares to join hands with the Wu Videist Alliance and challenge us. He thinks that we will charge at the Crescent Moon Fortress in the west with 100,000 soldiers? What a joke! Gongyang Jun snickered and looked at the spiritual transportation boats that were moving swiftly behind them, saying, for us, is there a difference between barging in from the west and from the east? Gong Shikuo said in a harsh tone, we'll take 10 of his cities and see how he reacts to that. In front of the South Gate Fortress in the south of Dajin, the patrolling soldiers suddenly looked up. What are those? Many spiritual boats suddenly appeared in the sky, and many cultivators flew down from the boats like dense locusts while spiritual spells crashed down from the sky like a storm. They appeared out of the blue in the sky as if they had been invisible. At this moment, the people in the south gate fortress of Dajin felt as if the end of the world had suddenly come. Cultivator troops. They are cultivator troops. They are cultivator troops of Yundian Upper Realm. How come they are here? Hurry up and report it. Faced with enemies that they had no ability to fight back against, the well-trained armies that were responsible for guarding the border fell into chaos and screams soon filled the south gate fortress. Dajin country, report. Cultivator troops of Yundian attacked the south gate fortress, and the 50,000 border soldiers can't hold them back. They are asking for backup. Report. The south gate fortress is lost. The 50,000 backup soldiers from Crescent Moon Fortress retreated to Blade Hiding, Kangfeng City. Report. Blade Hidden City was lost. Report. Cultivator troops of Yundian conquered 10 cities consecutively, and they are attacking the Skywolf, Tianlang, fortress. Hearing the urgent reports, Jiwu became livid with fury. Damn it! The previous emperor signed a peace pact with the Yundian Upper Realm, but they disregarded it and conquered my cities. Although he had made some preparations and increased his guard, he didn't expect that the gap between them would be so great until the Yundian Upper Realm attacked Dajin. Your Majesty, haven't you been developing spiritual transportation boats? One general said. In my opinion, we can pull the spiritual transportation boats. Together with our military spiritual boats, we can move 30,000 elite soldiers to defend Skywolf Fortress. 30,000 soldiers are not enough. Jiwu said with gritted teeth. According to the war reports, Yundian Upper Realm has sent a cultivator army of at least 30,000 soldiers. Even if Dajin had 30,000 elite cultivators formed into a troop, they would be no match for Yundian Upper Realm's 30,000 cultivator troops since the latter had excellent items and high cultivation strengths. Right now, Dajin's army was a mix of cultivators and warriors. How could they win? After all, a cultivator's power on a battlefield was several times greater than a warrior's. That's the only option we have. Your Majesty. The old general said in a trembling voice, they have no intention to battle with our main military force. After entering the center of our territory, they can easily attack the royal palace to the west or the headquarters of the Wu Daoist alliance to the east. The powerful mobility of Yundian Upper Realm's cultivator army was evident, and Dajin's army was no match for it. Perhaps a big army of 200,000 to 300,000 soldiers could stop Yundian Upper Realm, but the latter obviously had anticipated this and showed no intention of fighting with Dajin's main force. With many transportation spiritual boats, the tens of thousands of cultivators of Yundian Upper Realm could lead the hundreds of thousands of warriors and cultivators of Dajin in a merry chase. The only option right now was to chase after them with lots of transportation spiritual boats, but the transportation boats in Dajin could only carry tens of thousands of people. This eliminated the only advantage of an army that was mainly comprised of warriors, the numbers advantage. I'm willing to block the enemies with a 30,000 soldier-strong suicide army. I'm willing to be the vanguard. A middle-aged general with a beard yelled. They were generals who had once talked about godly sword lightning controlling true spell with Premier Zhang in the royal palace. The white-haired general was Wang Tong, and the middle-aged general was Li Kaishan. They were both experienced generals of Dajin. With two of them here, the majority of the military force of Dajin was here. Everyone, please look forward at the Yundian Upper Realm, Wang Tong pointed at the green mountains in the distance. It's beautiful and rich with resources, but our land is comparatively poor and rural. They regard themselves as lofty cultivators from an upper realm, and we should respect them for it. However, they take us as lowly ants that they can crush whenever they want. Today, they took 10 cities from us due to a small grudge. If they think of something tomorrow, will they come and take the whole country? Do you want to take this humiliation willingly? Today, I will lead you to battle them to death. Who is willing to come with me? We are willing. Instantly, the roars resonated in the area as if huge ocean waves crashed onto the land. With a grim expression, Jiwu finally came to a decision at this moment. With you all willing to go to war for our Dajin at the risk of your lives, how can I, the Emperor of Dajin, stand by and watch? Where are my royal guards? Where is the Juhua army? Where is the Wu Daist Alliance army? We are here. More than 2,000 people shouted from behind him, and the flags fluttered in the wind. Today, I'll lead 30,000 elite soldiers of the Iron Armor Army and cultivators of the Wu Daist Alliance and 2,000 of the Joint Army of Dajin, Internet Cafe Army, to battle them to the death. No. Your Majesty. You represent the country and can't go to the battle with 30,000 soldiers in the suicide army at the risk of your life. Stall them? What can we do even if we stall them? Jiwu said with a cold smile, they will slowly kill the soldiers of our Dajin one by one. At least, we can stall them until our main force comes. What then? They can go anywhere they want, how can our army keep up and beat them? Jiwu slammed his fist on the wall beside him. I have a clear understanding of the situation now. Despite the big number of soldiers and generals of my Dajin, the only force that has the potential to block them is the tens of thousands of soldiers that the transportation boats can accommodate. Without these tens of thousands of soldiers and the spiritual boats, Dajin could do nothing but guard the capital city. Jiwu wasn't an emperor who would do nothing but guard what he had. As the second emperor of Dajin, he didn't experience the era when the soldiers of Dajin battled around to expand their territory, but he had a stronger wish for a more powerful Dajin compared to the previous emperor, Ji Xiantong. Now, an opportunity presented itself before him. I've made a decision. Jiwu said firmly with his golden cloak fluttering in the wind. Chapter 284 The First Battle between Yundian Upper Realm and Dajin Country. The pioneers who had achieved this feat were great enough to be recorded in the history books. However, for Yundian Upper Realm, this country was still young and weak. After all, the weak ones and the ones who fell behind were always preyed on by the powerful. Natural blockages and terrain advantages were nothing for cultivators of the Yundian Upper Realm. Skywolf Fortress had the defensive advantage since it was surrounded by cliffs, but it was child's play for cultivators. The lofty cultivators of Yundian Upper Realm looked down on the fortress from the spiritual boats in the sky, and the sharp arrows shot by the soldiers who were defending the fortress were blocked by the spiritual light barriers around the spiritual boats and posed no threat to the cultivators. Only the city-destroying arrows could have some effects on the spiritual boats in the sky. But soon, the arrows were destroyed by spiritual spells and disappeared in a flash like shooting stars in the night. Standing on the tall black cliff, the generals wearing black armor raised their arms and roared, leading the remaining soldiers to jump onto the spiritual boats from both sides of the cliff. Then, they fell hopelessly in the destructive spiritual light. The blood and fire flowed out of this war between unequal parties. Gongsha Kuo sat on the bow of his boat in an armchair with a cup of tea in his hand, and he watched the battle as if he was enjoying dazzling fireworks of a bustling festival. Behind him stood a row of elders from the Gongsha family, and their auras showed that they were all above the divine ocean realm. Starts of Yundian. You'll die pathetically. A middle-aged general wearing black armor cussed while he was dragged up to the bow. Family Master, we've captured the head general of Skywolf Fortress. The person who spoke was a middle-aged cultivator whose cultivation strength was obviously at the early stage of the divine ocean realm. Have you forgotten the pact that you reached with our previous emperor? The black-armored general cussed in fury, how can you call yourselves heroes or upper realm cultivators when you sneak attack us? Gongsha Kuo waved his left hand, and the middle-aged cultivator immediately slapped this general's face twice ferociously. Take him down. Gongsha Kuo lifted the cup in his hand and enjoyed the fragrance of the tea. They are so weak. I think we don't have to keep the captives, just kill them all. Suddenly, he had a bad feeling in his guts. The spiritual light barrier protecting this spiritual boat was broken, and his body tilted subconsciously. Bang! The teacup in his hand exploded. The hot tea spilled over and spayed on his head and face. A few tea leaves stuck on his face, and he looked extremely disheveled and embarrassed. Looking at him, the surrounding people wanted to laugh, but they had to hold back, their faces all turned red since they were trying to push it down. Who did it? Shamed and enraged, Gongsha Kuo stood up from his chair and looked around, wanting to pull out the person who sneak attacked him and kill them. However, he couldn't find the attacker. The surrounding masters also looked around but couldn't see a trace of the attacker. Then, they looked into the distance. Right now, the huge fleet of warships of Dajin only looked like a small black dot in the sky. Then, someone yelled in alarm, "It's Dajin's army!" In a snow-white long dress, Su Tianji's dense black hair fluttered in the wind while she stood at the bow of the ship in the lead. With one of her white boots stepping on the edge of the ship, she was holding a silver-whitish heavy sniper rifle which had a long and thick body. While exhaling slightly, she squinted her eyes and looked at Gongsha Kuo, who had tea splashed all over his head through the scope. Alas! I'm old. My hand shook slightly. With your old age and clumsiness, you can only hit him by the edge. Shwedailv said contemptuously while standing by her side. Kill them for me. Gongsha Kuo wiped his face, feeling like it was the most humiliating moment in his life. At his order, many spiritual boats flew toward Dajin's spiritual boat group at top speed. Block them! Gongsha Kuo looked livid while he stared at the distant spiritual boats. I don't know what tricks you are playing, but you can only defeat my Gongsha family in your dreams. Each of the spiritual boats of Gongsha family was a super spiritual artifact for war with ultimate power. Gongsha Kuo said with a chilly expression, I'll give these ignorant ants a taste of the great power of the spiritual artifacts that my Gongsha family got from the cultivation realm. The Gongsha family had once gained a scroll which showed the creation process of ancient warships in the cultivation realm. It was because of this scroll that the Gongsha family was elevated to the number 3 position in the Yundian upper realm. When the world wasn't this peaceful before, the Gongsha family had used their fleet of warships to destroy a middle-sized cultivator force which had offended Yundian upper realm. During that battle, the Gongsha family had almost 0 casualties. The creation process of the Gongsha family's warships was very profound and complicated. The battleships were perfect spiritual treasures with powerful defense abilities, and they could even unleash several grand spiritual spells that had horrifying power. Even the Gongsha family possessed only a couple of dozens of such perfect warships, and they had brought 20 of them, more than half of the combat force of the family, into this battle. Countless spiritual light beams gathered in the first row of the warships, and the cultivator's spiritual energies merged with that of the spiritual stone. They instantly unleashed a horrifying powerful presence. Meanwhile, violent winds howled around the spiritual boats of Dajin, and the spiritual energies around them were disturbed as if a violent storm was brewing. While the warships of Yundian upper realm were condensing several powerful area of effect spiritual spells with horrifying power, the soldiers of Dajin set up ordinary-looking city-destroying crossbows at the bow of each spiritual boat. What a joke! Gongsha Kuo laughed when he saw that Dajin's army was still using the outdated city-destroying crossbows. Look at the uncivilized countryside people. They are still using these low-level weapons. Meanwhile, more than a dozen heavy and thick black arrows flew toward the warships of the Yundian upper realm like cannons while creating loud rumbling noises. One of these flew directly toward the warship that Gongsha Kuo was standing on. However, Gongsha Kuo didn't mind. Strengthen the defense of the spiritual light barrier at the bow of the ship to the highest level. At his order, the pale blue spiritual light before him almost turned solid. He sneered, these uncivilized people want to deal with the warships of the Gongsha family with these city-destroying crossbows? Can these arrows break the spiritual light barriers? Boom! To his astonishment, a huge arrow shot into the floor before his feet, and a large area of the deck got blown into debris. On the huge black arrow was engraved several weird characters that were bright and eye-catching. It was the light of rune words, decrease the target's armor by 50%. Then, the entire arrow exploded, creating immense flames as the sky and the earth shook. Jun Yangzi stood on the bow of the boat while his robe flapped in the wind. He said with a vicious expression on his face, "Sorry, but our spiritual artifacts don't need to be charged up to use." 2 rounds of attacks severely damaged Gongsha Kuo's 20 warships, several of them were hit on vulnerable parts, and they fell toward Skywolf Fortress. How could this happen? Beside him, Gong Yangjun complained, "Brother Gongshu, didn't you say that your Gongsha family's warships are unrivaled? How come they can't even block the city-destroying crossbows?" "Impossible. Absolutely impossible." Gongsha Kuo's headpiece was hanging off his head sideways, and his organized and tidy clothes were messed up. He said in a deep voice with a vicious expression, "Impossible. We spent lots of manpower and resources on each of the warships. Although I don't know what unorthodox tricks they are using, the battleships can't be destroyed so easily." He pointed toward Dajan's spiritual boats before him and said, "They ran out of those huge black arrows." Indeed, the Wu Vidaist alliance spent lots of energy and resources on the huge black arrows, and they couldn't make many of them. After 2 rounds of attacks, the arrows were depleted. It seems that the force behind them isn't completely useless. Gongsha Kuo said with a gloomy expression, "No wonder they dared to lure the Wu Vidaist alliance away from the 3 Saint Gates, no wonder the Wu Vidaist alliance dares to work against us. We underestimated them. But now, we won't repeat the same mistake." Gong Yangjun narrowed his eyes, and a chilly light flashed in them. "Here come their transportation boats with warriors," an elder from the Gong Yang family yelled. "Their warriors dare to fight with cultivators of the Yundian Upper Realm." Gong Yangjun said, "Tell the cultivators of the Gong Yang family to form the lightning vital array and cast the Qianyang lightning spell. Beat down the warriors for me." Soon, many spiritual boats with the Gong Yang family's flags flew out, and the cultivators on the boats all formed a strange lightning array while chanting long passages of incantations. Immediately, dark clouds gathered in the sky with rolling thunder and flashing lightning bolts. "It's the Qianyang lightning spell!" the soldiers in Dajan's army exclaimed at the sight of the thunderclouds. Different from the godly sword lightning controlling true spell, this spiritual spell was cast by many rows of cultivators and covered a large area. Although its damaging ability was no match for the godly sword lightning controlling true spell, it covered a large area, engulfing the entire front area of the army of Dajan. It had no effects on grandmasters such as An Hui and Ji Wu, but it would inflict great damage on the warrior troop. After all, it was a spiritual spell created for war and could deal a lot of damage to troops. In fact, Ji Xiantong had once battled with the force of the Yundian Upper Realm, but he was defeated by this horrifying lightning power. He was intact under these thunderclouds, but he lost more than half of his soldiers in one instant, and the battlefield looked like hell. Besides, the warships of Gongsha family were still very useful. The other spells that they shot out broke the spiritual light barriers of some transportation spiritual boats of Dajan. Standing on the spiritual boats without the barriers, the soldiers of Dajan were defenseless. Meanwhile, the spiritual boats of Dajan's army emitted light which blinked red and blue alternatively. The light was so hot and strong that it dyed the color of the sky. "What's that?" After injecting spiritual energy into his eyes, he looked toward the distance and saw countless phalanxes standing neatly on Dajan's spiritual boats, and fire lights flew up into the sky, turning into rune characters made of flames and engulfing each soldier in a vague holy aura. Holy armor spell. Then, a wave of fire runes flew out. The rune characters used in these fire runes were the most common spells among cultivators and could be combined with any ordinary Taoist spells. Lastly, blue flames shot up one by one above the phalanxes. They were ghost spiritual shields. "All warriors, raise shields!" Ji Wu roared with a grim expression. "Raise shields!" The order was passed down, and the warriors of Dajin lifted huge black shields. Then, many lightning bolts fell, turning the whole Dajin spiritual boat group into a hell of lightning energy. Gong Yangjun's eyes showed his absolute confidence in this attack. After all, even the unrivaled warrior army led by Ji Xiantong had lost more than half of its soldiers before they could get close to the cultivator army of the Yuan Upper Realm. You haven't learned your lesson. Stupid. Looking at the sky which had turned into a hell of lightning, Gong Yangjun sneered, thinking that Dajin was extremely stupid to send warrior troops to lead the charge. At this moment, Ji Wu looked dead serious, and sweat began to pop out on his forehead. Obviously, he, the Emperor of Dajin, also remembered the disastrous fate of Dajin's army in the western expansion a long time ago. It was a nightmare of the army of Dajin. Right now, he was leading troops and charging at this nightmare, and there was no retreat for him. Hold on. We must hold on. Ji Wu clenched his teeth so hard that they almost bleed. Boom! Violent lightning bolts fell onto the spiritual boats that were charging forward and destroyed the spiritual light barriers. Wood debris flew after the lightning bolts shattered the edges of the boats. The lightning bolts also landed on the huge shield array formed by the soldiers. Like giant ice pallets, they crashed onto the shields viciously with booming noises. Many elite soldiers of Dajin felt desperate. Despite their higher cultivation strength as elites compared to the ordinary warriors, they didn't know how to block such an attack, and they had to hide under the shields. The ghost spiritual shields emitted pale blue light which looked extremely weak, as if it would shatter easily. However, when the lightning bolts crashed onto the shields, all the soldiers of Dajin were amazed to find that the seemingly powerful attack didn't inflict lethal damage as they had imagined. When wave after wave of lightning bolts landed on the shields of almost 20,000 elite warriors, they felt like they could hold on for a long time and block more attacks with the additional benefit of the magic installation which increased their vitalities. Maybe, they could really walk out of this nightmare alive. Gradually, the sky began to clear while groups of spiritual boats rushed out from the dark clouds. They were a bit shaken, but the warriors of Dajin protected the core parts of the boats and brought them out of the attack safely and successfully. Father! Do you see this? With slightly red eyes, Ji Wu gazed at the distant sky. The army of our Dajin finally walked out of this nightmare. He roared hoarsely, Taoists, use group healing. Warriors of Dajin, charge! A wave of clear spiritual light rose in the crowd, and the fatigued Dajin warriors regained their strengths with noticeable speed. My Dajin Iron Army will never fall. With hoarse roars and cheers, they celebrated their narrow escape. For Dajin! Charge! This roar resonated in the sky. Chapter 286 Iron Army. Spiritual Spells Gloomy Ghost Flames. Gong Yangjun issued the order, and the cultivators in the troop formed phalanxes. Then, many flames lit up on the spiritual boats before they rushed toward Dajin's army like cannonballs. Form the shield array. Dajin's warriors formed layers of black walls of shields, and the flames disappeared when they smashed onto the shields. The warriors behind the shield walls already loaded arrows onto the bows. Shoot! Countless arrows engulfed in warrior chi shot toward Yuan Upper Realm spiritual boats. The arrows might have a shorter attack range than spiritual spells, but the power was almost the same. Lots of arrows crashed onto the spiritual light barriers around the spiritual boats, and the spiritual light began to dim and blink as if the barriers would break anytime. Meanwhile, the spiritual boats of Dajin's army got even closer. Retreat! Retreat! Attack the spiritual boats! Stop them! Gong Yangjun's cultivator army was obviously in a difficult situation. After all, he didn't want the warriors of Dajin to get on board his spiritual boats. Even though he believed that the elite cultivators of the Gongyang family wouldn't be defeated, the family's honor as the number 4 family in the Yuan Upper Realm would be lost. Retreat! Retreat! You can't retreat anymore! Gongsha Kuo roared. If they retreated further, the array would be disrupted. Then, tell me what we should do. Gong Yangjun looked gloomy, and it was obvious that tensions were rising between the two families. "Gather our elite forces!" Gong Shikuo shouted, "Attack!" Before he could finish the sentence, he saw the following scene. Fire wall. Launch fire walls. Crush them with explosion flames. Taoists. Use group healing and send the skeletons over. Anyone who can cast AoE spells, use the spells and attack. Flames burned on the spiritual boats, and they turned into surging fires. The flames created by spiritual spells didn't need fuel, and they kept burning under the support of spiritual spells. These spiritual spells didn't need chants, hand gestures, or spell incantations. It wasn't powerful when it was cast by one person, but when a group of people used the same spell, it turned the spiritual boats of the elite cultivators of the Yundian upper realm into an ocean of blazing fire. The flames connected and blocked the sky, turning the spiritual boats under its influence into a huge fiery cloud. In the world of combat, speed trumped everything else. Lightning spell. Concentrate the lightning spell onto the guy who is issuing orders. Concentrate fire on him now. An elder of the Yundian upper realm was directing the cultivators to block the attacks, but about 100 blue lightning bolts suddenly landed on him without warning. Crack! His protective spiritual artifact was shattered instantly, and his face turned pale. He's still alive. Still alive. Continue concentrating fire on him. Boom! The deck of the spiritual boat exploded, and the elder fled to the spiritual boat behind him in a panic. He fled. Don't chase him. Aim for the next one. Use firewall and explosion flames. Drive the spiritual boats forward. Warriors, charge! The white-robed elder who had had a narrow escape still looked pale with fear. Gong Shikuo and Gong Yangjun gaped at the sight. What are these spiritual spells? They don't need to be chanted, and they have such great power. In contrast, their spiritual spells were powerful but took a lot of time and energy to cast. However, the spiritual spells of Dajin's army were extremely simple and efficient. Shoot the spells onto the warships. Wipe them all. Wipe them clean. Yu Qi issued orders from a spiritual boat of Dajin. Under the ferocious attacks, many cultivators of the Yundian upper realm were swallowed by lightning bolts and flames before they had time to cast spells. We can't go on like this. Gong Shikuo couldn't hide the frustration on his face. In his life, he had never encountered such a situation or imagined that his cultivator army would be beaten into this pathetic state by a mixed army of warriors and cultivators. I can't let this army live. This was his thought right now. He took out a black awl made of an unknown material, which was neither copper nor iron, and tossed it into the sky. It turned into a huge sky-piercing awl and crashed viciously toward the center of the crowd of cultivators of Dajin who were casting firewall and lightning spells. The black awl was named Sky Falling Awl, and he obtained it in the cultivation realm with great efforts. Even cultivators of the divine ocean realm couldn't block the full force of this treasure, let alone these cultivators who were lower than the pinnacle stage of the true lake realm. Since this weapon moved very fast, even cultivators of the divine ocean realm rarely escaped from its attack. Gong Shikuo sneered silently, knowing that the crisis would be over after he killed these cultivators, who were the core of his enemies. In his mind, it would take Dajin lots of manpower and resources to raise more cultivators of this level, and he didn't believe that Dajin would be able to raise another group of such talented cultivators in a short time. The attack came so swiftly that it caught everyone off guard. It was too late to stop it. While alarmed screams and cusses sounded, the huge black awl shot toward the center of Dajin's joint army where the elite and experienced internet cafe soldiers gathered. No. Jiwu's expression changed drastically. Watch out! Despicable! While the yells sounded, almost all of them looked hopeless since no cultivators of the true lake realm could block this attack. However, before the black awl crashed down, someone yelled, "Open shields! Open shields!" Swoosh! Swoosh! From the center of the joint army of Dajin, a golden light flashed while magic shields were activated one after another, turning the center of the joint army dazzling golden. Then, the black all crashed into the crowd. All of their protective spiritual artifacts were shattered instantly, and they had to activate their spiritual essence to block the attack. Boom! Boom! Many people were sent flying like cannonballs, and the array formed by the core members of the joint army was scattered. As a result, the attacks ended. All the cultivators and warriors of the Dajin joint army watched their peers fall from the sky like dumplings, and their minds turned blank, wondering if the people who had trained, fought, and got skills books with them were all dead. Gongsha Kuo's face was cold. Even cultivators of the Divine Ocean Realm probably couldn't survive such an attack, let alone these cultivators of the True Lake Realm. No! Jiwu let out a furious roar, feeling like his heart was bleeding. However, the falling cultivators shook and flew back up into the sky. After all, the wizard's shield was a very powerful spell. The wizards whose shields were not broken were harder than iron and couldn't be hurt by sword techniques such as the flame sword technique. They looked listless, but they were obviously not dead. They had withstood this attack collectively with magic shields and with the strengthened defense that came from Taoist spells. Group healing! Group healing! Jiwu roared in elation. The troops of the Yundian Upper Realm were silent. Dead silent. This was truly an iron army that was as hard as metal. Chapter 287 Dajin's Rise. Ha 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 ha. Jiwu laughed at the sight and pointed at the livid-faced Gongsha Kuo and Gong Yangjun who were standing on the warship, saying, I was sleepless with worry for years. When I did sleep, I worried in my dreams, afraid that the cultivators of the Yundian Upper Realm would invade my territory and kill my citizens. But today, I will tell you this. Jiwu roared, Dajin is no longer the lamb that lies beside ferocious beasts and shivers in fear. My Dajin is rising. He ordered, everyone, charge. Warriors of the Dajin Joint Army, charge with me. Royal Guard Captain Yu Qi shouted, and many warriors leaped onto the Yundian Upper Realm spiritual boats. The few remaining warships of the Yundian Upper Realm and the transportation boats behind them were getting into a turmoil. The paladins' auras were powered by spiritual essence, so, it was another method of essence activation. Different from other warriors, many of the elite warriors of Zhuhua army were among the first group of players of Diablo with Gong He and Anhui. Although they couldn't learn all of the paladins' skills, each of them had mastered at least one aura. Their advantage showed at this moment. Might. Activate. Fanaticism. Activate. Huge amounts of spiritual essence spread outward and gathered in their bodies. It circulated swiftly in their bodies and formed auras on the ground around their feet. The color was clear and faint, but this small troop suddenly gained a different presence. The Zhuhua army gained great speed instantly, and they swung their sabers like a gale in a storm. They charged into the group of cultivators like tigers in a herd of sheep. Before the cultivators could react, their array was torn apart. Block them! Block them for me! Gong Yangjun roared hoarsely. He believed that these cultivators could never be defeated by these warriors. The cultivators ignored the warriors who were charging at them, and they only concentrated on casting spiritual spells as pale blue rune characters appeared one after another before surrounding them from all directions. Gong Yangjun was sure that his cultivators' protective spiritual artifacts could defend against the warriors for a long while. After all, the elites of the Gongyang family had the best protective spiritual artifacts. However, what happened next dumbfounded him. Block us! Gong He sneered, how can you block us? The warriors in the front row hacked out their long sabers, and many huge sword energies pierced the light barriers and cut the cultivators of the Yundian Upper Realm who were still chanting and casting spells. The Yundian Upper Realm's cultivators who were standing in the front row spat out blood and were sent flying. The sword energies of the assassination sword technique were the natural counter of magic shields and armor. The strong penetration ability could break most of the ordinary defenses. Kill for me! With many soldiers of Dajin swarming up, it was obvious that the Yundian Upper Realm would be defeated. The cultivators of the Yundian Upper Realm who had always looked down upon others were finally shocked and frightened, finding that Dajan's army was different from any previous ones since it was undefeatable. While the cultivators had used up 80% of their spiritual essence, the counter-attacks of Dajan's army had just begun. Ha 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 ha. Faced with imminent defeat, Gongsha Kuo still laughed in a crazy and somewhat disdainful way. He gazed at Dajan's army and said, I have to say that I'm surprised the mixed army of 30,000 warriors and cultivators defeated the cultivator army of our Yundian Upper Realm. He led elders of the Gongsha family and Gongyang family to fly up and hover in the sky while violent winds blew against them. Each of them emitted a presence above the divine ocean realm, and some of them even reached the 4th level of the divine ocean realm. As for Gongsha Kuo and Gongyang Jun, they were at the 7th level of the divine ocean realm. About a dozen grandmasters of the divine ocean realm hovered in the sky and released horrifying and powerful presences, looking like immortals descending into the mortal world from heaven. However, you're naive if you think that you can win. Gongsha Kuo snickered and said, do you think that you can defeat the Grand Masters of our two families? What do you think? Su Tianji stood in the air and pointed her index and middle finger up to the sky. Countless horrifying spiritual essence currents gathered around her from all directions from the sky and the earth, forming an overwhelmingly great power. She gathered the clouds in the sky and pulled down the lightning from the heavens. Even the spiritual essence released by the attacks of the countless cultivators was drawn here by a mysterious force. Everything in the world seemed to dim around the dazzling light of the sword. Does anyone in your Yundian Upper Realm dare to block my strike? With a cold expression, Su Tianji stood in the air like a fairy descending from the heavens. Right now, her index and middle fingers were pointing at a huge and horrifying sword condensed by the spiritual essence from the sky and the earth. It was the Heavenly Sword, the ultimate sword technique of the Shu Mountain faction. Meanwhile, another huge heavenly sword was condensed as Yesong Tao said in a loud voice, does anyone in your Yundian Upper Realm dare to take my strike? The second heavenly sword was created. They were an elder and a faction master respectively and had extremely high talents. Also, as the earliest players of the Legend of the Sword and Fairy, they had understood the heavenly sword after reading the ultimate truth from the heavenly book in Jade Dynasty. At this moment, Jun Yangzi waved his big sleeves, and the whole sky was covered in blue flames as if the whole world were engulfed by fire. I've never tested our faction's blue flame heavenly scroll on people after I improved it. Would you want me to test its power on you? Meanwhile, the elders of the Wu Vidaist Alliance and the generals of Dajan's army also revealed their cultivation strengths. Instantly, a surge of presences even more horrifying than that of the Yundian Upper Realm elders engulfed the sky. I'm surprised that Yundian Upper Realm is so weak. Do you dare to fight us? Gongsha Kuo and Gongyang Jun's expressions changed drastically. Retreat. Yundian cultivators. Retreat now. Seeing their enemies activating heavenly power, their hearts lurched and then sank. Stop! Don't run! They looked back and saw two horrifying heaven swords crashing toward them. They ran faster. Gongsha Kuo bit his tongue tip and spat out a mouthful of essence blood. Use the escape technique. Hurry! We'll be safe once we're back in the Yundian Upper Realm. He turned into a bloody light beam and flew in the direction of the Yundian Upper Realm. He was even faster than the top speed of the large spiritual boats of his family. Soon, he came to the border of Yundian Upper Realm with Gongyang Jun and some elders. When we get back to Yundian Upper Realm, we'll ask the Gongyai family to send troops to Dajan and kill all the cultivators and warriors. They looked mad with blood-red eyes. You uncivilized tiny cultivators can never catch up with us. Hurry! We're almost in Yundian Upper Realm. At this moment, they heard a series of laughter. One voice said loudly, the sword arrives with the wind, eliminating evil from heaven and earth. Another voice continued, I will be thrilled if I have liquor, but I'm still insane when I don't. I will drink the lakes and rivers and then swallow the sun and the moon. I am the liquor sword immortal, the only person who is left standing after 1,000 drinks." With those words chanted, several cultivators of the Wu Vidaist alliance flew up stepping on swords like shooting stars and blocked their enemies instantly. Stepping lightly on the swords, they didn't move an inch in the howling violent wind, looking like sword immortals descending into the mortal world. In fact, they had never investigated the force behind Dajin and didn't know why the Wu Vidaist alliance refused to attend the Cultivation Realm conference and dared to even rebel against the Yundian Upper Realm. However, in their eyes, the three saint gates in the Cultivation Realm had been in the lofty position for many years, and the Yundian Upper Realm had gained lots of benefits from them. How could a small force that suddenly popped up offer any benefits as good as those from the Cultivation Realm? The reality gave them a heavy blow. This blow shattered the dream of the Yundian Upper Realm, where many cultivators gathered and paid their homage. In this dream, the cultivators of the Yundian Upper Realm could dominate and obtain whatever they wanted with a wave of their hands. The dream was shattered as if it were as brittle as glass, it left nothing but shards on the ground. At this moment, except for those few lines of the poem Gongsha Kuo, and the others' minds were completely blank. They couldn't even flee. "What is this technique that you are using to fly on swords and catch up with our escaping technique?" Gongsha Kuo murmured. "The sword control technique." Shwedaov, the Liu Yundaist palace master, said, "We respect you as seniors in the cultivation world and hope that you will come with us obediently. If you want to fight us again, I can't guarantee your safety." "Got it." Gongsha Kuo and Gongyang Jun inhaled deeply and knew that they had turned from the lofty family masters of the Yundian Upper Realm into captives in a flash. Things changed too fast. "I can't understand the turn of events." Gongsha Kuo smiled stiffly in resignation. "However, despite your victory today, the three saint gates and the Gongai family are not people that you can deal with easily. Keep that in your mind." On the deck of a spiritual boat which was so damaged that it could fall at any moment, an elite soldier of Dajin who was wearing black armor lifted a broken shield in his left hand and waved a long saber with the other. Right now, several cultivators of the Yundian Upper Realm surrounded him. A soldier who had lost an arm struggled to get up from the ruins with the support of the big shield in his other hand. With blood and dirt on his face, a cultivator of Dajin in a tattered black robe was viciously chasing after a panicking cultivator of Yundian. Even equipped with all kinds of spells, these elite soldiers of Dajin still had their inborn disadvantages when they faced the cultivator army of Yundian. It was a hard battle for them. They fought on the battlefield with the conviction that they would die in the battle. They had never imagined that they could come out alive. At this moment, the dazzling sunlight shone on their heads, and they looked up subconsciously at the figures racing toward them from the distant sky. The high-level figures of Yundian Upper Realm in the center of the group were tied up by golden ropes. "We won!" A voice came from the high sky and resonated in the whole battlefield. "Won? We won!" A soldier licked his chapped lips and murmured in disbelief. He was afraid that it was just a dream, and he would wake up from it any time. They entered the battle with the mindset that they would die, but the result was beyond everyone's expectation. The mixed army of 30,000 warriors and cultivators defeated 30,000 elite cultivators of the Yundian Upper Realm. It was a battle that was worthy of recording in the history book. They laughed, cried, and screamed hysterically, and cheers rose on the battlefield. It was the only way that they woke up their bodies that were numbed from the hard battle, telling themselves that it wasn't a dream. "Pass my order. Gather all the injured soldiers to this place." Jiwu did the last arrangement with a solemn expression. "Heal them together here." "Your Majesty," an old general said, "we must celebrate this huge victory all over the country." Jiwu nodded. "Pass my order. I'll hold a celebration banquet." "A celebration banquet?" "Yeah." Jiwu nodded solemnly. "The Dajin Joint Army, Internet Cafe Army, will celebrate the victory in Zhuhua. Reward each of them with a bottle of Coke and a bowl of instant noodles with one sausage." "Ugh. Okay. Ha 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 ha." Right now, the Zhuhua city shop was boisterous with crowds. In Xon, Mr. Fang lounged on his chair and listened to Su Tianji and the others recounting the incident. He laughed so hard that his belly ached. You mean that the emperor is holding a celebration banquet outside? He bought each of them a bowl of instant noodles and then invited them to go online and play The Legend of Mir 2. Yet, Su Tianji glanced at Fang Qi curiously. It's nothing strange. After all, the reward for each person is worth nearly 10 crystals, and many ordinary people can't afford these things. Fang Qi held his laughter and said, Ugh! It's not funny. It's very good. Why aren't you going? Master thinks that it's too noisy, Yuexin explained for her. Song Qing Feng was drinking the tea offered by Mr. Fang by the side. This tea was beneficial to cultivation strength, and he couldn't get enough of it. I heard that you two girls also participated in the battle. He sounded surprised since these girls looked soft and cute, not the warrior type. Yet, after all, we're direct disciples of our master, and we've reached the spiritual river realm. Feng Hua said proudly, don't underestimate us. Mr. Fang shuffled the cards on the table and said, were you afraid? There were so many enemies. There's nothing to be afraid of, Feng Hua said, after all, we fight this way every day in the game, and the number of opponents range from dozens to hundreds. We're used to the scenario. Yuexin stuck out her tongue. We were indeed frightened when the master of the Gongshu family sneak attacked with the sky falling all. Fortunately, I stood on the edge of the crowd. Otherwise, I might not have been able to block it even with the shield. It was a narrow escape. Feng Hua also looked scared when she recalled the battle. Fortunately, Master told us not to stand in the center of the crowd. I taught her that, Mr. Fang said contemptuously, if you attack a large group of people, you must cast the spell at the center. In that situation, people standing on the edge of the crowd are smarter. Now, I'm dealing the cards now. Yet, you are right. Although Su Tianji didn't like Fang Qi attitude, she had to admit that he was right. Although Xone wasn't as action-packed as other games, people could gather in this place even though Mr. Fang was in the distant Morning Star Sea realm. After the storm of the war, this simple and clean small house felt like a small haven. While drinking the fresh-smelling tea, one felt serene and relaxed as if they were far away from all the conflicts in the world. Of course, it would only feel this way if they didn't yell things like, Big Joker, Small Joker, and Bomb. Takes a faction, the old man who was wearing a white robe of golden patterns sat cross-legged on the bank of the lake with the fishing rod in his hand. The fishing line on the rod didn't have a hook dangling in the water. He watched the fish frolic in the water. If he weren't in the takes a faction, people would take him as an ordinary old man who was fishing. At this moment, a disciple strode up respectfully. Was the Yundian upper realm defeated? Before the disciple spoke, the old man asked mildly. You? The disciple asked in surprise, you knew it? While stroking his beard, the old man smiled faintly as if everything was in his control. If the force supporting them is so weak, the Wu Vidaist alliance wouldn't have dared to leap out of the big lake even if it was a golden carp. Good. Very good. The old man said with a laugh, I'll see how strong you are. We don't need to intervene, the disciple asked. With Gongshu Kuo and Gongyang Jun captured, the Gongai family of Yundian Upper Realm must be restless. The old man said with a chuckle. To the west of Dajin, the mountainous area which was called the Yundian Upper Realm had many huge cities built on the mountains. Many big and small cultivation forces and families gathered here, and it was an auspicious place in every cultivator's heart. Today, 2 of the 4 major families were gone, which was a huge earthquake for the whole Yundian Upper Realm. In Yujing, the most dazzling pearl city in this region, Gong Gai Aishiu had white hair, but time had left few marks on his face. He looked to be about 40 years old at first the glance, seeming to be a cultivator in the younger generation. Beside him, the white-haired master of Gongsun family looked like an ancient man who didn't have a long time left to live. If not for his clear and bright eyes, no one would believe that he was the master of the second major family in the Yundian Upper Realm. Gongsha Kuo and Gongyang Jun are now captured. The joint force of the number 3 family and the number 4 family of our Yundian Upper Realm was defeated by a kingdom of warriors, and the family masters were captured. Gongsun Chui's voice was very deep. These two families are getting weaker by the day. However, even though they are living backwards, Gongsha Kuo and Gongyang Jun shouldn't have lost to Dajin, Gong Gai Aishiu said, at least they could have escaped. While shaking his head, he continued, I'm afraid that the force behind the Wu Vidaist alliance isn't as simple as we had thought. Oh! Gongsun Chui was displeased that Gong Gai Aishiu rebuffed him, but he couldn't ignore the latter's opinion. Master of Gong Gai, what tricks do you think that this small force, which appeared out of nowhere in Dajin, is playing? Could it be that you really think it's another cultivation realm? Gongsun Chui obviously didn't think that there would be any force that could match the 3 Saint Gates. Gong Gai Aishiu analyzed the situation and said, when we put pressure on Wu Vidaist alliance, we thought that it would obey us. What happened? It only shows that the Wu Vidaist alliance is short-sighted, Gongsun Chui sneered. Gong Gai Aishiu continued, then, we thought that the Wu Vidaist alliance would soon be crushed by our economic sanction. What happened? Ugh! Gongsun Chui stroked his beard and said with a cold expression, because they were lucky and found a new spiritual artifact-making technique named magic installations which could empower their current treasures. Gong Gai Aishiu nodded. Guided by this thought, we launched the 3rd round of attacks and even resorted to military force. What happened then? Ugh! Gongsun Chui was obviously at a loss for words. After all, coincidences couldn't repeat again and again so quickly. By now, it had happened 3 times. Even though Dajin and the Wu Vidaist alliance were only lowly ants beside their feet that they didn't care to spare a glance at, they began to sense that something wasn't right. Maybe this force has unusual abilities. Gongsun Chui had to admit this fact. But I think they probably have reached their limit. He was obviously combative. Master of Gong Gai, are you afraid of them? Afraid? Gong Gai Aishiu sneered and stood up from his chair. Even if the 3 holy ones from the 3 Saint Gates were here, I, Gong Gai Aishiu, wouldn't be afraid. Then, what's your plan, Master of Gong Gai? Gongsun Chui asked, should we go to Dajin and destroy that force? Master of Gongsun. Gong Gai Aishiu gazed at Gongsun Chui and said, if that force is easy to destroy, Fang Qi, the messenger of the Taxa faction, wouldn't have come to enlist our help. I believe that you also got the information on the whereabouts of the demon-suppressing cauldron. Gong Gai Aishiu squinted his eyes while a flash of light appeared in them. Master of Gongsun, you don't have to test me anymore. After all, one must follow the trend if they want to live long in this world. Gongsha Kuo and Gongyang Jun are captives now, but they are still from our Yundian Upper Realm, Gong Gai Aishiu said, I'll send people to talk with Dajin and ransom for them. As for the issue of whether if we should fight them or come into a peace pact with them, Gong Gai Aishiu continued, we can make the decision after we take a look at the shop that is operated by that force. Should we go personally? Of course. Gong Gai Aishiu said firmly, the scouts always returned with the reports about games and cultivation strength increases. This time, I'll go and investigate the shop in person. Gong Gai Aishiu said in a cold voice. Obviously, he was sure that all their trouble with Dajin and Wu Vidaist alliance came from this shop. Then I'll go with you, Master of Gong Gai. Meanwhile in Half City, it's said that Dajin went to a war lately. It even beat a big force made purely of cultivators senseless. Cultivators were beaten senseless by an army of warriors. How weak and lame are these cultivators? You won't say it if you know the truth, a black-clothed cultivator said. It's said that there were not many cultivators in this army, but the cultivators of the True Lake Realm blocked the heavy attacks of spiritual artifacts launched by high-level cultivators of the Divine Ocean Realm with magic shields. The concentrated firing of the lightning spell almost killed grand cultivators of the divine ocean realm. Really? Another cultivator said in surprise, the magic shield spell is so powerful? I saw a magic shield spell skill book the day before yesterday, and it sold for only 200 crystals. You didn't buy it for 200 crystals, the black-clothed cultivator laughed and said, it's selling it for almost 2,000. Ah! Skill books for Holy Armor Spell, Ghost Spiritual Shield, and the Assassination Sword Technique are each selling for about 1,000. Task Content, Cross-Regional Online Trading reaching 200 times Task Description, members can buy virtual items with crystals deposited in the membership cards. Task Completion, activate QQ Trading Net and level up privileges rewards. After this privilege level up, 1. Set up the shop employees in the system interface and provide small range protection measures, it will consume the system's energy. 2. Increase the number of employee dorm rooms in each shop to 2. What are you doing? Mr. Fang was playing Fight the Landlord when he received a message on QQ. Nalan Mingxiu? What does she want? Fang Qi replied her with a question mark. I plan to buy some books from the Morning Star Sea Realm. Please do the deal for me. Her reply came soon. Buy books? Buy some books? Mr. Fang was puzzled. You're a warrior, and there are only a few skills for your profession. How many do you want to buy? Nalan Mingxiu replied, not only for me. I also need skill books for wizards and Taoists, and I'll buy from you if you have them. 2,000 crystals for magic shield spell, 700 crystals for holy armor spell, 10,000 crystals for enchanting light. She finished the long list of prices and followed up with a picture of a husky's dumb expression. Guild President. Look. Someone is offering to buy the magic shield spell for 2,000 crystals, holy shield spell for 700 crystals, and other skills books for hundreds of crystals each. Let's sell the skill books. The buyer is someone named New Snow, and she has been flooding the world channel with the price list. Sitting next to Fang Qi, Ruan Ning almost jumped up at the offers. Her warehouse was full of skill books that the guild had collected. Don't sell. Mr. Fang sent Nalan Mingxiu the picture of the Akita Inu's disdainful face before saving the picture of her husky's dumb face that she sent. She's so audacious that she tried to get my skill books. Why not? Ruan Ning said in disapproval, the prices that she is offering are 10 times higher than before, and they can't get any higher. If we don't sell them now, we won't find a better buyer. Don't be dumb. With a sneer, Mr. Fang sent Nalan Mingxiu a message. What? You want to be a yellow cow? TL note, yellow cow means scalper in Chinese. Ruan Ning leaned over and looked at his screen. Hey! This is New Snow. You won't let me sell the skill books, but you're selling them. She's my friend, and that is why I'm talking to her. Don't be dumb. Mr. Fang felt helpless. I'm warning you now. Don't have dealings with this girl. She is smart enough to sell you, and make you count the money for her. You'll be sold by her, and you will count the money for her. Ruan Ning was instantly furious. The prices are so high. Why can't I sell them? Nalan Mingxiu replied after a long pause, what's a yellow cow? It is a scheming merchant who buys things out and sells them for much higher prices to gain unreasonable profits. Fang Qi sent her an unamused face emoji. The war has just ended, and the skill books prices increased tenfold overnight. There must be someone behind all this. Did you start it? Fang Qi asked tentatively. Husky's snickering face, it wasn't really me. Nalan Mingxiu put the words into QQ with a faint smile on her face. Before the war, I saw that the royal family was buying skill books in preparation for the war, and I followed suit. At this moment, there aren't many skill books on the market even at higher prices. In a couple of days, I guess I need to buy the Magic Shield spell skill book for as high as 3,000 to 4,000. I won't buy them if the prices go any higher. You guys, while reading the conversation, Ruan-Ning immediately sensed the stink of speculation. Of course, players wouldn't hold many skills books right now, and they are hard to get. The players who had the intention of selling skill books would have sold them long ago. The players who still have skill books with them are waiting to see if the prices will go higher, Fang Qi said contemptuously. You've become a big scalper overnight. Tell me, how many books have you collected? It's a secret. Grinning face with smiling eyes. The prices have gone so high. Can she sell them? Ruan-Ning frowned. Right now, many old players still need skill books. From the looks of it, many new players will enter the game. If some new players are rich and are willing to buy skill books at high prices, Fang Qi patted her on the shoulder. Girl, you're still young and naive. Humph. Old Demon Fang. What did you say? The guild president is handsome and dashing. At this moment, two figures stood in front of the Zhuhua shop. Master of Gonggai, is this the place? Gongsun Chui gazed at the shop front, which stood among residential houses. It looks ordinary. They pushed open the door and entered. The tremendous space inside the shop immediately drew their attention. Gongsun Chui, who had been commenting about the ordinary look of the shop, widened his old eyes. How come the space inside is so huge? I remember that the Gongsun family once obtained the building method of a spatial array from the Cultivation realm. Gong Gai Shiu asked, how is that method compared to this one? Gongsun Chui's face turned dark. I don't want to talk about it. The Gongsun family had only obtained an incomplete array blueprint, but the array in this shop was obviously complete. Where's the shop owner? Feeling embarrassed at the inferiority of his spatial array, Gongsun Chui became even more displeased when no one greeted them. After all, when they went to the three saint gates, the latter would send two important figures to receive them. Therefore, he was displeased by the lack of reception in this shop. How come no one is receiving us? This shop is really rude. I think we shouldn't waste our time on it. They walked further into the shop and read the words on the small blackboard until they came to the line that said, if you want to play, then play. If you don't, please leave smoothly. What does it mean by leave smoothly? They were baffled. It's a polite way of saying get out. Xiao Yulv was sitting on a couch. I've never seen you guys before. Are you new players? He had a deck of poker cards in his hands. Do you want to join me and play Fight the Landlord? Their faces turned dark. What's that? Landlord? We are not here to fight a landlord with you. We're here to investigate the shop and have no time to play with you. They thought in disdain. No. We don't want to fight the landlord with you. After reading the rules and introductions on the small blackboard, they asked, where's the shop owner? We want to try the games. Sorry, guys. A cute loli sitting beside the counter put down her virtual reality headset and said, there are no seats available now. If you want to play, please wait in line. If you're bored, you can play Fight the Landlord with Gong Xiao in the lounge area. The two men were at a loss for words. Enraged, Gongsun Chui pointed his finger at his own chest and said, do you know who I am? Even the people from the three saint gates don't dare to order me to wait in line. What are the three saint gates? Zhang Xiaoyu snorted with her hands on her waist. The boss said that even if gods came here, they have to wait in line when the house is full. You! Little girl, you're bold. Gongsun Chui's old face turned red with fury, and he had the urge to attack. Brother Gongsun! Gong Gai Aishiu said in a low voice, the situation is still unclear, and it's not wise for us to make a move. Humph! They sat on the couch in the lounge area. Gong Xiao, we heard that you are very familiar with this shop. Of course. Xiao Yulv patted his chest while dealing the cards, saying, I know everything about the shop, including the game walkthroughs and the secrets of the shop. I call landlord. Gongsun Chui was aggressive. I'll rob the landlord from you. Gong Gai Aishiu said, pass. Are we almost done? Gongsun Chui asked in a low voice. Gong Gai Shiu nodded. The shop owner is absent, but he can be contacted by something called QQ, they can even talk online. Humph. He must be playing some tricks. However, it's said that all the techniques that Dajan's army used came from this shop. Since this shop doesn't stop us from playing the games, we can learn these spells too, Gongsun Chui said in a cold voice. According to this guy, the sky falling all that Gongsha Kuo used was blocked by a spiritual spell named Magic Shield. Hee. If I equip an army of 10,000 cultivators with this spiritual spell, how can Dajan's army block us? Right. Gong Gai Shiu nodded. You have a point. According to him, many cultivators bought skill books yesterday at 200 crystals each, and the techniques can be learned at top speed with the spiritual artifacts named computers in this shop. However, after learning the technique, one can only understand it but can't describe to others and teach them. Interesting. However, it will cost us a fortune if we want to quickly equip an army of cultivators with these techniques. Gong Gai Shiu said, 200 crystals for one magic shield spell skill book, 100 crystals for one ghost spirit shield, I'm afraid that an ordinary force can't afford them. Gongsun Chui said, it's no wonder that not many cultivators in Dajan's army learn these spiritual spells. However, our Yundian upper realm is never in a shortage of crystals. They laughed, seats are available now. Let's get online. After they were gone, Xiao Yul remained in the lounge playing cards when he heard someone say, did you hear that the price for a magic shield spell book has increased to 3,000 today? 3,000. It was 200 yesterday, right? 3,000. Xiao Yul leaned toward them immediately and asked, friends, how come it has increased to 3,000? I just told people that it costs 200. 3,000? To tell you the truth, you can't buy one at 3,000 since no one is selling it. Another guy said proudly, fortunately, I bought one the day before yesterday. I'm so smart. Gong Gai Shiu and Gongsun Chui stood on the other side. Gongsun Chui asked, Brother Gong Gai, which one should we try first? Which one? Gong Gai Shiu snickered and said, activate them all, and we'll try them one by one. Didn't that little Xiao say that each one is highly useful, but some of them are faster to master than the others? However, before we try the games, we must see the owner of this shop and test the waters. He clicked open QQ the Morning Star Sea Realm. Mr. Fang. Add as friend, they followed Xiao Yul's instruction. Ugh! It worked. I don't think that guy dares to lie to us. Gongsun Chui sneered and then sent a message as a stranger, are you the owner of the shop? Husky's disdainful face, who are you? Mr. Fang sent them a meme he got from Nalan Mingxiu. What does this guy mean by sending us a picture of a dog head? Their expressions turned dark while they looked at the dog who stared back at them with an intense, contemptuous expression. They felt like they were being mocked just by looking at it. He input the words with his cold tone and expression, I'm Gongsun Chui, the master of the number 2 family in the Yundian upper realm. I want to talk to you about some important business. At this moment, Fang Qi had just coaxed Huang Puidao, the castellan of Black Dragon City, and Lu Ningyun, the Nanhua heavenly fairy to play fight the landlord with him. He played while replying impatiently, tell me what you want. I'm playing fight the landlord and have no time to deal with you. This kid is rude. Gongsun Chui was furious. Gong Gai Shiu rolled his eyes and said cautiously, this shop shows no respect for the 3 Saint Gates, it's no wonder that he's rude to us. The shop is extraordinary. I tried to sense the information delivering frequencies using the communication jade but failed, which means that the shop owner probably is not nearby. We must be careful since the spatial array and communication technique are both superior to ours. Then, he told Gongsun Chui to reply with this message. We know how to play fight the landlord. Can we talk while we play it? You know how to play fight the landlord. Fang Qi glanced at the message and replied. I have enough people to play fight the landlord. Okay. Okay. Come in anyway. They were at a loss for words since Fang Qi's tone was filled with slight. Gongsun Chui's old face turned dark. Kid, you better hope that you won't fall into my hands. You succeeded in adding Mr. Fang as a friend. Your friend, Mr. Fang, invites you to enter Xone. In Mr. Fang's room, the cultivators of the Black Dragon office and the Nanhua faction were all present. Lu Ningyun said, this game is no fun. It's a waste of my time. I'll quit after this round. A pair of threes. With cards in his hand, Fang Qi glanced at the door and saw two cultivators standing there with their hands clasped behind their backs, and they looked dignified. Of course, their luxurious clothes were now replaced by crude simple clothes, and they had no cultivation strength in their bodies in Xone. One of them looked extremely old with white hair and wrinkles. The other also had white hair but looked to be in his 30s. The white-haired man who looked in his 30s glanced around the room and said, I'm Gong Gai Aishiu from the Yuan Upper Realm. May I ask which one of you is the shop owner? A pair of sixes. Fang Qi dropped the cards on the table and looked up. Oh, so you are the master of the Gong Gai family. Standing by Gong Gai Aishiu, Gongsun Chui snorted and didn't show any intention in introducing himself. Fang Qi glanced at him and asked, is this guy, your grandpa? They were livid with fury. 10 minutes later. No one knew what they talked about with Mr. Fang, but some saw that their faces were as black as the bottom of a pot afterward. This kid is stubborn. However, he is not here, and we can do nothing to him, Gongsun Chui said in a cold voice. Master of Gong Gai, did you see anything special? After entering that space, I didn't have any cultivation strength, what could I find? Gong Gai Shiu's expression was even colder. Brother Gongsun, have you ever seen such an illusion realm? Each flower, blade of grass, and tree looked real. Gongsun Chui said, I plucked a green leaf and could see the distinct veins in it. Illusion realms are full of illusions, so everything should be fake. But this illusion realm gave me the feeling that everything was real. I can't figure it out. Let's try the games first and make plans later. Gong Gai Shiu's eyes turned intense. If all the stuff here were created by the force behind the shop, I'm afraid that it might have the power to block the 3 saint gates. We'd better not get involved. What if that's not the case? Gongsun Chui squinted his eyes slightly. We'll know the truth when the people of the 3 saint gates try their hands, right? Good idea. Gongsun Chui laughed and said, we'll just watch them fight while we get all the benefits from this shop. We can move the core members of our families here. Since Dajin's army plays the Legend of Mir 2, we'll play the Legend of Mir 2 as well. Also, we'll first learn the sword control technique before we tackle the difficult ones. Suddenly, his screen dimmed. Brother Gong Gai, how come you're dead? Gongsun Chui looked at Gong Gai Shiu, who had just walked out of the newbie village. On the screen, a little warrior named Long Live Dajin's army cussed, who is this little B*TCH that dares to get the name of Gong Gai? As a citizen of Dajin, you dare to kiss the A*S of the Yuan Upper Realm? Yeah, I will kill you when I see you. Scum! Gongsun Chui and Gong Gai Shiu looked at each other, and murderous light shot out of their eyes. Who is this kid? Play games and don't yell. Not far from them, Zhang Xiaoyu said in disapproval. If you do it again, I'll kick you out. Look at how smug you are. What's the use of this thing? They watched Mr. Fang while he attached the joysticks to the computer that he had bought earlier. Computer. Ruanning had been wanting to ask this question long ago. Why did you buy a computer in Xone? It's so expensive. I'm gonna use it to play games, Fang Qi answered. Play games? The others were at a loss for words. Can we play the Legend of Mir 2 in here? There's no Legend of Mir 2 here, Fang Qi said, there are some small games to train your reflexes and combat rhythm, but they are not important. He clicked open the list of items in the shop and pointed at some of the items, saying, "Look at this fist technique scroll. Ugh! Why is it grey? There's a lock on it. Because we have to unlock it." Fang Qi flipped through the following pages of the shop. The grey items all need to be unlocked. For example, the mind cleansing tune needs the Guhun skill to unlock it, the wind pattern elixir's receipt needs a certain level of elixir making skill to unlock it, this. He pointed at the King of Fighters page and said, "These needs this computer game to unlock. We can do this." They listened to Fang Qi explanation of the small clues in Xone. "However, the fist techniques are for warriors, what can they do for us?" "You don't have to play the game if you don't want to," Mr. Fang said. "Anyway, I'm going to play it. Do any of you want to try it?" After the familiar music, the game came to the interface to choose characters. Mr. Fang found that this game was also a remake, and its quality was much more exquisite than the original version. "How do we play?" The others all looked shocked at this weird item in Xone. "Want to try it?" Mr. Fang showed them a warm smile. All of them expressed that they didn't want to accept Mr. Fang's invitation. The friends in Dajin are more reliable. Fang Qi rolled his eyes at them and opened QQ Young Master's song. "Song Qing Feng, I'm playing The Legend of Mir 2. What's up? Fang Qi, come and play the King of Fighters." "Song Qing Feng, what's that? Another new game?" Husky's disdainful face, "I have no money, sir." "Fang Qi, it's free this time." "Song Qing Feng, really?" "Fang Qi, of course. I have even prepared a pot of green spiritual tea. Are you coming?" Fang Qi received a basic OK sign in QQ. Soon, Song Qing Feng arrived briskly with Lin Xiao and Su Luo, and Fang Qi introduced the game to them. After Fang Qi explanation, they were surprised. "We can play computer games this way. The characters are the same as a puppet, right?" Song Qing Feng moved the joystick and watched the figure in the game move under his control. Each command corresponds to each move. It seems more complicated than the mouse and keyboard play style of Resident Evil and Counter-Strike. Song Qing Feng chose the character of Kyo Kusanagi and began to try the moves. Down forward and weak punch, 114 Shiki, Arakami after 114 Shiki, Arakami connected, down forward and weak punch 128 Shiki Konokizu. "We can make moves this way." He rolled the joystick for 2.5 circles and saw a light flash on the screen before flames appeared on Kyokusanaga's hands. Then, he shot out a big flame. "Wow! This can burn a lot of HP. These strong and aggressive moves suit me." Lin Xiao copied the move of raising flames in his hands and yelled as the character did on the screen. "Very aggressive." While watching them, the people from the Morning Star Sea realm looked contemptuous. "So silly." Su Luo asked immediately, "Can I learn this?" "Ugh. Maybe. After all, Shingo Yabuki could use all of Kyokusanaga's moves. The only thing was that he didn't have the bloodline of the Kusanagi family so that he couldn't use the Kusanagi flames. On the other hand, these guys had warrior chi, and it was hard to say what they could create. "Come on. I've finished testing the moves." Snickering, Song Qing Feng looked at Mr. Fang who had been beaten so hard by him that he had only a sliver of HP left. "Let's begin the fight." "Arakami. Konokizu." Song Qing Feng followed the rules and launched his attacks. Mr. Fang took Iora Yagami, and he moved his body, dodging Kyokusanaga's attacks. Then, with a shake of his joystick, Iora Yagami grabbed Kyokusanagi when the latter was off balance and tossed him to the side. Strong claw. A light flashed across the screen, and he launched Kin 1211 Shikiya Otome. "How come I can't move?" Song Qing Feng moved the joystick wildly and slammed on the buttons. Hit! 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 Fight back! On the screen, Iora Yagami's claws moved violently, and Kyokyuzanaga's blood gushed out. Even though they were separated from the characters by the screen, the image looked extremely real, and it was an exciting sight. Furthermore, the system had adjusted the moves and combos, and they were used as logically and smoothly as possible. Each strike landed on the flesh, and they were vicious. Finally, Iora Yagami grabbed his opponent and slammed the latter's head on the ground. Looking at the purple flames covering almost half of the screen which kept shaking, the viewers were dumbfounded. Kyokusanagi, who was played by Song Qingfeng, got up from the ground but received another round of heavy beatings of consecutive punches and kicks, and he fell to the ground. Ha 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 ha! On the screen, Iora Yagami pushed his fingers into his blood-red hair and laughed hysterically. F***ck. This guy is wild. That claw technique was so powerful. Can we learn that? The three guys were eager to learn. Young Master Song is trash, he couldn't even defeat his opponent who had only a trace of HP left. Let me try. Lin Xiao wanted to play the next round. Behind them, people like Huang Putao and Lu Ningyun, who were only new players of the Legend of Mir 2, were baffled. Games can be played this way. Then, Mr. Fang explained to them the advanced playing methods. In fact, combos could be achieved in the real world, but they couldn't be used as smoothly as in the King of Fighters. After all, warriors and cultivators understood things much faster than ordinary people, and they soon mastered the key points. It sounds interesting, Ruan Ning murmured to herself. It feels like a chess game in which you must predict your opponent's intention before you make your moves. You must calculate what to do after you are attacked and what to do if your prediction is wrong. Lu Ningyun said, it sounds to be a game of depth. Yet, Huang Putao nodded and said, when you meet a rival on your own level, there will be many battles on the psychological level. During a chess game, you have time to consider your next move. But in this game, if you take too much time to think, your opponent will overwhelm you with a storm of attacks. Interesting. Shall we try it? Try it. How come this guy can only use punches and kicks? On the screen, Yashiro Nanakase punched and kicked without any special effects. Although Kyokusanagi was beaten senseless by Mr. Fang, he was at least cool. Lin Xiao was very disappointed with Yashiro Nanakase, and he said, he's even worse than the previous one. I want to change to another character. Do you want to play my character? Mr. Fang asked casually. After winning a round, the character who won would get some HP back. Right now, Iora Yagami's HP had increased by a bit. Okay. Lin Xiao was eager to try Iora Yagami since he had seen that this character's sharp claw technique was powerful at close range. If he could take half of HP from Mr. Fang, it was enough for him to brag about. They changed positions and tested the moves. After several 108 Shiki Yami Bere and 3 127 Shiki Aoi Hana combos, Yashiro Nanakase, who was played by Mr. Fang, soon had less than half of his HP left. Come on! Seeing that Mr. Fang's HP was close to his own, Lin Xiao was more confident. I'll give you some purple flames first. On the screen, Iori waved his right hand and used Shiki Yami Bere, and a mass of purple fire shot toward Fang Qi swiftly. He. Lin Xiao was smug while he saw Fang Qi trying to block the attack by squeaking down by the corner. After all, the biggest advantage of cultivators over warriors was their long-range attacks. Now that he had this advantage, he wasn't afraid of the white-haired guy, who knew nothing but punches. This guy is indeed strong, Su Luo murmured to himself while he watched the game from behind. Ruan Ning looked at the screen and said, this is the difference between cultivators and warriors. Does this warrior practice both spiritual spells and combat techniques? Huang Putao asked in bafflement. Lin Xiao was happy with his maneuvers. While pushing and pulling the joystick with his left hand and slamming on the buttons with his right hand, he watched the screen light up with the purple flames in Iora Yagami's hands. A thick beam of purple fire shot out across the space toward the other side of the screen. Is this a spiritual spell? This is dominating. This guy is indeed powerful. The shop owner chose this strong character to bully us. Someone protested. Song Qingfeng and the others stared at the screen with wide eyes. Huang Putao, who was watching the game from behind, looked even more baffled. Is he really a warrior? However, the next scene dumbfounded them. Under Mr. Fang's control, Yashiro Nanakase rolled on the ground and avoided this attack, dodged the next Shiki Yami Beret, and drop-kicked. After Lin Xiao blocked it, he squatted and knocked down Lin Xiao with a strong kick. Your stance and lower body are weak, young Master Lin. A red light flashed on Yashiro Nanakase, who had little HP left in his body. When his opponent got up, he launched the final heavy, knockout punch. Boom! Tremendous earthly power gushed out from his fist and broke his opponent's defense, sending the latter flying for more than 20 meters. Everyone shrugged at the sight and knew that Iora Yagami was destroyed. Parched Earth Yashiro Nanakase possessed the power of the earth and was the leader of Hakushu. His true power was only a bit weaker compared to the three main characters, Iora Yagami, Kyokusanagi, and Chizuru Kagura. He was powerful in the game. How come he can't defend against this punch? Slap! 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 Lin Xiao punched the joystick in frustration. Su Luo said, "You're all trash. Let me try." Ruan Ning said, "Let me try it." 1 minute later they looked at Chizuru Kagura and Shermi, who were lying on the ground, and said, F***CK. The scummy shop owner must have gotten private lessons for this game. Damn it! Instead of admitting that you are weak, you accuse me of taking private lessons. Mr. Fang said contemptuously and taunted them, who else wants to play it? I'll play with only one hand. One hand. Many people were displeased. After all, this game needed two hands to issue commands. With only one hand operating the gamepad, the players couldn't press buttons and move joysticks at the same time, so they couldn't use smooth combos. It's just a small game. Many people in the room wanted to give him a hard lesson so that he wouldn't be so arrogant. I'll play it. Lu Ningyun didn't think that this small game was difficult. Although she was only a beginner, she had watched the others play several rounds and was familiar with the moves and combos. She didn't believe that Fang Qi could beat her with only one hand. He was too arrogant. Then, she plunked down on the seat next to Mr. Fang contemptuously and began to choose her character. The first one was Iora Yagami, he was the top choice. The second was Chizuru Kagura, Su Luo had just played her, and Lu Ningyun remembered her moves. The third was Shermi, who looked strong since she could cast lightning. Meanwhile, Mr. Fang chose Joe Higashi, who was wearing a big pair of shorts. Then, he chose two other characters randomly. Joe Higashi was the first to enter the fight. Before the fight, Lu Ningyun had tested the moves and felt good. She remembered Iora Yagami's combos, Kyuzukaze, Strong Punch, and Shiki Aoi Hana were easy to memorize. At the beginning of the game, she cleverly used Shiki Yami Beret to test her opponent. Alaka! Joe Higashi swung out his fist, and a tornado shot toward Iora Yagami at a great speed. Then, Alaka! Alaka! Joe Higashi shot out small tornadoes one after another without stopping. Lu Ningyun had just used Shiki Yami Beret once, and the tornado hit her character in the face when she tried to use the second Shiki Yami Beret. Then, it came the third, fourth, and fifth tornado. Lu Ningyun tried to jump over a tornado to attack Fang Qi. Don't move! Mr. Fang hit his opponent's leg with one hurricane uppercut. Not wanting to admit defeat, Lu Ningyun struggled up and dodged the next punch. You dare to dodge! Mr. Fang quickly launched the second hurricane uppercut onto his opponent's face. She got up and used Shiki Yami Beret one after another. Mr. Fang yelled, Alaka! Alaka! Iora Yagami was swallowed by many tornadoes. Ah! Lu Ningyun frantically slammed her fist on the buttons and moved the joystick violently. Clap! Clap! She gritted her teeth and slammed her hands on the gamepad, but her character still couldn't get over. Then, her second character, Chizuru Kagura, entered the fight. Katso Tenjin no Kotori. Katsu Tamayura no Shintsun. At the beginning of the fight, Lu Ningyun was steady with her moves. Mr. Fang yelled, "Alaka! Alaka!" Tornadoes came up one after another. Clap! Clap! Lu Ningyun pulled the joystick wildly and slammed her hand on the table, but her character died. The third character Shermie entered the fight. Mr. Fang yelled, "Alaka! Alaka!" He tortured his opponent mercilessly. Lu Ningyun could neither move nor attack. Red-eyed, she gritted her teeth and slammed her fist on the buttons on the table, wishing that she could leap over and punch Mr. Fang hard. Boom! 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 Even the screen was shaking. Damn it! Don't destroy my desk with your fist! Mr. Fang couldn't bear it anymore. Scummy shop owner, show some manners to your guests and go easy on them. Ruan-Ning was indignant for Lu Ningyun. You said that you'd fight with only one hand, but you used this shameless move that couldn't be dodged or leaped over. How could she continue the battle? Young Master Song, shall we play another round? Come on. I'll choose the character that the shop owner just played. Lin Xiao entered the game again and chose Joe Higashi. He was having a great time using Hurricane Uppercut one after another the moment the fight began. On the other side, Mr. Fang controlled Iora Yagami with one hand. Humph! I'll see what you can do this time. Ruan-Ning smugly comforted Lu Ningyun, who was too angry to play this small game again. Mr. Fang taught us this shameless battle style, and his opponent will be using it on him. Mr. Fang calmly hooked his little finger around the metal stick part of the joystick while he pressed his thumb and index finger on the buttons leisurely. After finding an opening, Iora Yagami leaped over the tornadoes and interrupted his opponent's attack with swift light punches. Looking at Joe Higashi, who had been knocked down to the ground, Mr. Fang opened his hands and shrugged while singing in Cantonese, "Today I saw snow drifting through the cold night, it was the boundless sea and sky, a song by beyond." What's he singing? Song Ching Feng and the others were baffled by the Cantonese song. I don't understand one word of it. Su Luo said. The words sound like, iron pot. With tears in eyes, shout repair pots. Ruan-Ning tried to copy the sounds of the words. TL note, these are the meanings of the Cantonese lyrics when they are interpreted in Mandarin. Song Ching Feng was at a loss for words. Lu Ningyun had deep doubts about Mr. Fang's taste in music. Huang Putao was embarrassed. I didn't know that Mr. Fang liked these down-to-earth folk songs. Fang Qi was at a loss for words. Then, he said contemptuously, damn it! You've never heard of Wang Ka-kui's songs. TL note, Wang Ka-kui was a Hong Kong musician, singer-songwriter, and record producer. He rose to prominence as lead vocalist, rhythm guitarist, main songwriter, and founder of the rock band Beyond in a large majority of Asian countries. Who's Wang Ka-kui? They asked simultaneously. Mr. Fang decided to ignore them since they knew nothing. At this moment, he received a message on QQ Gong Gai Aishu, Mr. Fang, some people killed and cussed at me in your game. Isn't anyone managing this? Gong Sun Chui sent an angry face emoji with the following words. I only killed 2 to 3 monsters but have been killed 5 to 6 times by other players. Don't you have rules against this behavior? Rules? There was no law here, but Fang Qi had to admit that it was a cruel fate for a newbie. So, he asked in a milder tone, why did they kill you, 2 newbies? Did you cuss at them? Gong Sun Chui, I'm not that kind of person. Fang Qi, you didn't. Gong Sun Chui, of course not. Fang Qi, did you encounter someone named 3 Season Rice? TL note, this is an infamous WoW player in China who killed a lot of newbies. Gongsun Chui, who's 3-season rice. Fang Qi, someone who likes to kill low-level players. Gongsun Chui, no. He thought to himself, are there such people in the world who wait and kill the low-level players? When I level up in the future, I'll. Fang Qi, here's my suggestion. It seems that the Royal Clan Guild is big in your area, and you can join it. With their protection, I'm sure no one dares to kill you. Gongsun Chui, Royal Clan Guild? What Royal Clan Guild? Fang Qi, Dajin's Royal Family's Guild. Gongsun Chui, what did you say? Fang Qi, oh. I forgot that you're from Yuan Upper Realm. They just beat you? It doesn't seem right. Gongsun Chui was enraged. Damn it! What does this guy mean by it doesn't seem right? By his side, Gong Gai Aishiu was lying on the ground and couldn't get up. What did the shop owner say? Gongsun Chui gritted his teeth and said in fury, this kid told us to join the Dajin Royal Clan Guild. With its protection, we won't be killed. Did this guy explode? Fang Qi immediately sent a follow-up message. Do you want me to recommend a guild from the Morning Star Sea Realm to you? If not, you can join our heaven-defying online games guild. Gongsun Chui asked, Brother Gong Gai, what do we do now? How do I know? Gongsun Chui said with a dark expression, maybe we should put the Legend of Mir 2 aside and play other games first. Gong Gai Aishiu narrowed his eyes. He had discovered that even if he had a lot of people with him, he couldn't establish a force in the world of the Legend of Mir 2. After all, he was lower than level 10, how could he battle with other players? If I'm right, the places that are producing skill books and treasures have probably been all taken by these major forces. Gong Gai Aishiu thought for a while and knew that if they didn't seek protection from the big forces, they could never prosper in this virtual world, let alone building a new cultivator army. Then, the most that they could get from this game was some leftovers. With a treasure mountain standing before him, he could do nothing but look at it. This wasn't a situation he liked. It's just a virtual guild. It's no big deal if we join this guild. After all, they won't be able to interfere with our business in Yuan Upper Realm, right? They won't be able to force us to do anything with our positions, right? Gong Gai Aishiu made the decision. While we are in the guild, we might be able to know more information about this shop. A clever light flashed across Gong Gai Aishiu's eyes. Maybe we can talk with him about other issues, soon. Fang Qi received their reply. We must warn you that we can't be bounded and restrained by rules. If your guild has lots of rules, we will quit at any time. Besides, with our background, Mr. Fang, do you have any special benefits for us after we join your guild? Fang Qi, join or get out. Special benefits? What a joke! Mr. Fang thought to himself. The two guys were stunned and were at a loss for words. Meanwhile in the Taxa faction, Gong Gai Aishiu and Gongsun Chui went to make trouble in that shop in Zhuhua personally. The white-robed old man withdrew the fishing pole and asked mildly. Yes, master. A white-robed disciple stood behind him deferentially. He had just delivered the intelligence report. With these two men's abilities, I'm afraid that the force is now in ruins. If those two men join hands, few people are their match, the white-robed old man smiled. However, that force must have a special ability. Otherwise, it couldn't have done what it has done. The two parties might hurt each other and both get injured. Master, you seem to have a high opinion of that force which came out of nowhere, the disciple said. In my opinion, it's just a small frog looking up at the sky from the bottom of a well. The old man laughed. Then, it's good to show them how big the sky is. Meanwhile, Gongsun Chui got up from the ground after being killed again. Shaking with fury, he exited the game. I quit. Forget it. Let's play the Legend of Sword and Fairy first. Brother Gongsun, calm down. Gong Gai Aishiu sent Fang Qi a message with a cold expression. Please let us think over the decision of joining the guild. He thought, I'll let this kid worry and be anxious for a while, and we can join the guild in a couple of days. In the last few days, Fang Qi felt harassed by the cross-regional deals after the virtual trading became popular. With the skill books getting even more expensive, the valuable places that had monsters that dropped these skill books witnessed more conflicts. As for the bosses, such as the Wilma clan master who could drop skill books for skills above level 30, their appearance would cause a blood storm. Now that all the elite members of the major forces had gotten most of the skill books, they turned their eyes to items. Although items didn't bring players benefits as directly as the spell books, things like killing and robbing other players for treasures and fighting for bosses were crucial. That was why the items that could increase players' strengths became hotshot objects. Some players' mindset even began to change subtly. For example, Black Demon was now in possession of an ultimate magic staff, and all the Black Demon guards wanted to have one as well since it was an honor to have the same item as the big boss. Guild President, how expensive will the magic shield spell eventually get? And how about Limitless, Wuji, Stike? I think the prices will drop if I keep them for too long. Different from Ruan Ning, whose warehouse was stocked with many resources of the guild, Xiu's warehouse had some personal items that she got herself. I plan to sell one or two things. How? Fang Qi frowned. The game is now full of profiteers. I don't know how long I must wait. Xiu said, I think I can try to auction them. The inner city of Half City was the power center where the high-level residents lived. All the forces in the outer city must register with the inner city to gain its acknowledgement, and that was only the first step to gain a footing in the city. Even the Coiled Dragon office was only a low-level force in the inner city. It was heard that the deepest part of Half City hid many horrifying old monsters. The forces in the Morning Star Sea realm hated Half City but didn't dare to get rid of it due to these old monsters' existences. Half City accepted any cultivators and warriors who wanted to live here and follow the rules of this place. No matter if they had been ferociously evil or just and righteous before they entered the city, they were protected by the city from the laws of outside after entering the city. Even though half of the city had been destroyed, the other half was intact, and so was its rules and traditions. No one had ever been able to change this. In the inner city, it was said that one could buy anything they could name as long as they had enough money. There were even objects that people had never imagined to be in existence. That was why the auctions in Half City were so famous. Even the Grand Masters of the Morning Star Sea realm would come here sometimes to buy rare items that couldn't be seen in other places. You plan to sell them at Half City's auction? Fang Qi asked in surprise. The problem is, my shop doesn't have any tangible items. How are you doing to auction them? That's simple, Xiu said. In the past, the auctions also had some special objects which couldn't be handed to the inner city for safekeeping, but they could be entrusted to the executives of the inner city. For example, we can create an account and take it as an intermediary warehouse. We can store the items in this account, which could show that we have these items and allow others to get the items. You're quite thoughtful. Fang Qi thought for a moment. We can try it. When is the auction? It will be happening soon. Mr. Fang discovered that it was easier for people in this world to like classical music than rock and roll. Rock and roll seemed to be beyond their understanding, let alone getting them to like it. For example, Su Tianji played the boundless sea and sky in her xone and hummed along from time to time. As for Song Qing Feng, he listened to the song before. But when Fang Qi tried to explain the lyrics to him, he said that Mr. Fang was not subtle. When Fang Qi tried to be subtle, he said that Mr. Fang was not graceful. The incident when Mr. Fang was laughed at will be ignored for now. Mr. Fang decided not to talk about the song with them. Whenever he had time, he would play the boundless sea and sky. Anyone who wanted to play the King of Fighters or came to his place to have spiritual tea would have to listen to it. It was why Song Qing Feng and Lin Xiao began to hum while they walked on the street in front of the shop, Gam tin en go han yel we han sud piu guo wa I juk long kuk lu dik sam wo piu yuan fong. TL note, this is what it sounds like in Mandarin: steel pot, with tears in eyes, yelling repairing pots, change broken pots for new ones and place them in a mess. Chasing after pots in the wind and rain. This is the original meaning. Today I saw snow drifting through the cold night. With the cold, my heart and mind drift off to faraway places, trying to catch up in the wind and rain. The song was catchy after hearing it countless times, and it would replay itself in their heads. Colorless. Lin Shao copied Iora Yagamai's Shiki Yami beret and yelled while he launched a mass of warrior chi, sending a small rock flying. It was early morning in the Nanhua faction in the distant the Morning Star Sea realm. Lu Ningyun was strolling on the forest path leading to the cultivation place for elders. In a good mood, she hummed subconsciously, Yun Lung En Go Jie Yat Song Bat Gay Fong Yung Oi Ji Yao. TL note, in Mandarin, it sounds like, in all my life, I like freedom and love gay guys. The original meaning in Cantonese, forgive me, I've been an unruly, untamed freedom lover all my life. Some very inaccurate Cantonese words came from her mouth. She looked around and blushed when she saw some junior brothers and sisters gaping while looking at her. Damn it! She stomped her foot in a huff. How come I sang it out loud? She felt her image was instantly ruined by her careless mistake. More importantly, she ran into a person at this moment, and this person was glaring at her with a dark expression. It was an oval-faced woman who looked to be in her 30s. She looked more mature than Lu Ningyun with coldness and an aloof presence. Master! You still know that I'm your master? The woman snorted. I sent your second senior sister to fetch you the day before yesterday, but you were out. Yesterday, you didn't come back from Half City until the night. I heard that you aren't cultivating in the faction lately. Instead, you went to Half City each day and didn't come back until sunset. Am I right? Yes, Lu Ningyun had a bad feeling. I went there too. To do what? The woman said in a cold voice, don't tell me that you go to Half City to cultivate diligently. Lu Ningyun was frustrated since she couldn't rebuff her master and tell her that she had indeed gone to Half City to cultivate. With everyone watching, it would be a humiliation to her master if she voiced anything. No matter if she was in the right or not, she knew what the consequences would be. Well, the woman said in a cold voice, you will stay in the faction and cultivate for in the coming days. This is... Lu Ningyun, who had been on her way to the internet cafe, was frustrated. What should I do? The problem is that we don't have proof, Lu Ningyun said. Besides, if you explain it to our master, she probably will think that we're disgracing her by cultivating in another force instead of doing it in the cultivation rooms of our faction. What should we do now? The whole thing sounds complicated. I don't know. Lu Ningyun looked worried. In fact, things were not as harmonious as they looked in this big faction. Not many people knew that Lu Ningyun was grounded, but some people asked around purposefully and got wind of it. I heard the rumors from the outside that Nanhua Heavenly Fairy Lu Ningyun was defeated by a young man who appeared out of nowhere. It's true, elder senior sister. Standing by this woman, there was a girl who looked a bit older than Lu Ningyun. According to the rumors circulating outside of our faction, the godly sword lightning controlling true spell has unrivaled power, and even the Nanhua Heavenly Light of our faction is no match for it. That's ridiculous. The woman sneered. Godly sword lightning controlling true spell? Where did it come from? Which faction does it belong to? I've never heard of it before. How can it defeat the Nanhua Heavenly Light of our faction? I guess junior sister Lu hasn't mastered Nanhua Heavenly Light yet and thus brought disgrace to the ultimate technique of our faction. She's not as good as you, elder senior sister. The master said that she is a rare genius in the last 1000 years of Nanhua faction, but I think she's no match for you, elder senior sister. The title of Heavenly Fairy should belong to you. Right. Elder senior sister, you entered our branch the earliest, and we admire you the most. I don't understand why they gave the title of Nanhu a heavenly fairy to the young Lu Ningyun. They even taught her Nanhu a heavenly light. Humph! The woman sneered. Now that junior sister Lu is grounded by master, I think it gives you a perfect opportunity, elder senior sister. Opportunity. Right. If we can defeat the young man who defeated junior sister Lu, master might see you in a different light and will probably think that junior sister Lu doesn't deserve the title of Nanhu a heavenly fairy. She might put more value on you, elder senior sister. This seems unfair to junior sister Lu. The elder senior sister seemed worried. Elder senior sister, you're too kind for your own good. In my opinion, only you deserve this position. The elder senior sister followed their tone and said, I can't refuse your kind advice. Let's get ready and go to Half City. We'll find that kid and give him a hard lesson to redeem the honor for our Nanhua faction and junior sister Lu. Right. Elder senior sister, your cultivation strength is much higher than that Lu Ningyun, and it will be easy for you to capture that kid who came from nowhere. Guild President, Sister Xi and I are going to burn pigs in the stone tomb. Are you coming? At Fang Qi advice, Ruan Ning had found a new place to level up, and she was enjoying it. You guys go ahead. I plan to go to Zuma Temple with Xiaoyu. Ugh. Mr. Fang's QQ beeped, and he received a new task at the same time. New task, a fresh wind in the era of online games. Task description, the number of players of the little game, Xone, reaches 200. Task reward, movie, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, 1 day access to the game Cultivation Room. Task clarification, this is a basic magic class. Although the Legend of Mir 2 got more popular each day, and the players of the Legend of Mir 2 increased continuously, the fact was that the Legend of Mir 2 wasn't a game for independent players except for those who loved exploring every day without a specific purpose. For new players, they either joined a force or developed their own in a low profile. The latter would eventually get used to being killed after a while. Some players didn't like fighting and battling every day. For example, Su Tianji preferred to stay in her Xone to play Guhan and grow vegetables with her 2 disciples. As for the Legend of Mir 2, she just followed the main force of the Liu Yun Guild to gain some experience points each day. She was a big burden for the team. For the same reason, Lu Ningyun had time to play the King of Fighters and drink tea in Mr. Fang's place. Since Su Tianji watched her vegetable garden closely and was diligent with removing pests and weeds, Mr. Fang didn't have the opportunity to steal her vegetable. Therefore, she had quite a decent income now. Even her daikon was bigger than those in the others' gardens. More importantly, she had grown some high-level spiritual plants, and the land that she could use for growing had doubled. Fang Qi glanced at the message on QQ. Su Tianji? What's it? I'm playing the Legend of Mir 2. Mr. Fang replied impatiently. Every time he saw her well-grown vegetables and fruits filled with spiritual essence, he was tempted to steal them. However, she guarded her garden closely, which made Mr. Fang very frustrated. I have something to ask you. Su Tianji sent him a message, why can't I unlock the higher-leveled spiritual plants? I have enough nurturing and cultivating experience and skills, but it says that I need to unlock them through Plants vs Zombie. Pu. Mr. Fang almost spat the coke onto his screen. What do you need to unlock them? Plants vs Zombies. Su Tianji replied, how can plants fight zombies? What is this? Husky's baffled face. Su Tianji was confused, and the husky's baffled face showed what she was feeling. Wait a moment, Mr. Fang came into Su Tianji's Xone. Her space was now exquisite under her management, and the green pine and bamboo forest made the scenery more pleasant. The green bamboo fence surrounding her courtyard had various sprinkling small flowers on it, and all kinds of vegetables and fruits were either vivid red or bright green in the garden. The original crude cottage with the straw roof was now changed into an exquisite house with a tiled roof. On the snow-white walls crawled green ivies and bright wild flowers. It was a pretty picture. On the side was an elixir room with sandalwood fragrance floating out. It was a celestial sight. Beside the green creek on one side of the house was a simple gahan platform. When she was free, she played it, and the clear sounds resonated in the forest. It was a celestial life that was rarely seen in the mortal world. It was an elegant place to be enjoyed by herself or with a group of friends. Of course, the celestial atmosphere wouldn't be disturbed if she didn't say, "Here you are. Come and show me how to do this Plants vs Zombies." Good that you have it. Fang Qi clicked open the store and showed her the item. On the third page, you can buy the game disc of Plants vs Zombies. Then, I'll show you how to install it. Soon, under Mr. Fang's direction, a game logo appeared on the screen of Su Tianji's computer. After it finished installing, it showed one hand sticking out from the ground and grabbing a small flower. Ding dong ding dong. With the familiar background music, the game started. It resembled the original version except that the pictures were sillier and cuter, which was why it was cheap. Look. Fenghua. Is that a zombie? It's so silly. Giggle. Yuexin giggled while she watched the game from behind. That sunflower is so cute. Fenghua said with a laugh, I didn't know that there were such games in the world. Look at the walnut beside it. Ha ha ha. Its bulging eyes are so silly. Obviously, this game appealed to the girls. A box appeared on the center of the screen. Click to start. Su Tianji clicked it, and a red brick farmhouse appeared in the distance under the blue sky studded with white clouds. On the hill before the house was a tombstone, and there was only one option for now, adventure. When Su Tianji clicked it open, they heard the zombies' symbolic hoarse laughter as a dark green arm stuck out from the ground. The game began. At the beginning of the game, there was a beginner's manual. Su Tianji followed the instructions in the manual and put down a pea shooter. Soon, the zombie came close. The pea shooter shot peas at the zombie one after another. Giggle, this is so dumb. Fenghua giggled while she watched it from behind. They are both dumb. How come the zombies are so dumb? This pea is so cute. I want to play it too. This game is simple and silly. Su Tianji said contemptuously while she played. I just need to put down the peas and watch them shoot the zombies. Su Tianji waved her hand in boredom. Okay. I know how to play it now. You're free to go. Then, she murmured to herself, what's fun about this game? It's boring. Fang Qi, who had walked to the door, paused, and he said while his face twitched, you don't have to play it if you don't like it. I wouldn't play it if I didn't need it to unlock things. Su Tianji snorted. Disciples, see off our guest. Then, she got busy planting the pea shooters. After passing level 1, she got a walnut card. Ugh! Now, I can grow 2 plants. Su Tianji clicked and picked up the card to activate level 2. With the more items that she picked up, the game gradually went faster. It was clear that the game was a bit more difficult than the original version. Su Tianji's fingers clicked on the mouse rapidly as she clicked on the screen. Some time later, a message appeared. Excellent! Congratulations to you for passing level 5. You rank number 1 among your friends. Do you want to share this in the friend circle on QQ? Accept. Su Tianji got a sense of achievement and thought that it wasn't a big deal to share it. Meanwhile, Mr. Fang had resumed playing The Legend of Mir 2. Suddenly, a message shot out of QQ. Your friend, Yuji Immortal, is playing Plants vs Zombies and passed level 5. She ranks number 1 among all her friends. Come and have a look. What's this damn thing? His hand shook and almost hit Zhang Xiaoyu's head. Sir! What are you doing? Surprised, Zhang Xiaoyu jumped away like a bunny. What's Plants vs Zombies? Obviously, she had also received the message in her QQ friend circle. Her little face was full of curiosity. A while later, another message jumped out of QQ, your friend, UG Immortal, is playing Plants vs Zombies and passed level 10. She ranks number 1 among all her friends. Come and have a look. Sister Su, what are you playing? What is Plants vs Zombies? How did you get number 1 among friends? Awesome! Master! Can we play as well? Feng Hua and Yuexin watched the game eagerly behind her. Ugh! Let me pass 2 more levels. Replies filled her QQ, and the logo of the penguin jumped on her screen. She had received lots of messages. The messages released in the friend circle can be seen by so many people. Su Tianji froze for a moment and replied to the people she was familiar with. It's just a small game in Xone. It sounds amazing. Is it fun? Can I watch you play? Su Tianji soon received replies. Your friend, UG Immortal, invites you to enter her Xone. Nalan Mingxiu, Dong Qingli, Su Zixin, Ye Xiao, and many other girls were invited to watch Su Tianji play Plants vs Zombies. Of course, Xue Daolv, the Liu Yundaist palace master, was also invited into her place, as were Ye Songtao and the others. A large group of people stood behind Su Tianji and watched her place the walnuts to the front, sunflowers to the back, and then filling the screen with pea shooters. The Grand Masters watching the game from behind froze in confusion. What on earth is this thing? Is this Plants vs Zombies? Xue Daolv was feeling awkward, regretting that he had wasted his precious computer time, which cost crystals for every minute, on this stuff. Ye Songtao said, Ugh! I've something to tend to. I've got to go now. However, the girls' reactions were different. Sister Su, how do we play this game? It's so cute. Do you need this game to unlock the high-level spiritual plants? Dong Qingli said, I remember that several special plant seeds need this game to be unlocked. Ha ha ha. Look at this squash's expression. It's so funny. Nalan Mingxiu said, it's indeed cute. Maybe I'll play it too. Boss. Zhang Xiaoyu looked at Fang Qi eagerly. Can I borrow your computer? I want to play the game too. Fang Qi face turned dark. Aren't you growing vegetables each day? Where's your money? Since Su Tianji could buy a computer, how come this girl couldn't afford a computer? Those oranges and daikon are delicious, and I ate them when they matured. Zhang Xiaoyu said in embarrassment. Fang Qi was at a loss for words. This girl ate all of her produce. Mr. Fang could only say, you are high maintenance. He glanced at the task list and saw a piece of good news. The number of players of the little game, Xone, had reached 32, and it was still growing. The disciples of the Nanhua faction, including Mo Xian, were well known for their beauty, but they rarely went out of the faction. They spent most of the time on cultivation or gossiping about others before their master. In short, they were cultivators of big factions who knew little about the tough life in the real world. At this moment, Fang Qi was doing cross-regional trading at the counter, and Zhou Mo was walking around the shop leisurely. Suddenly, Zhou Mo froze. Someone's outside of the shop. His eyes widened a bit. No? No people? Was I too sensitive? Suddenly, his eyes widened, and he pointed at the door. Bo! Boss! Look at the entrance. What is it? Fang Qi looked in the direction of Zhou Mo's gaze and saw that snowflakes seemed to be falling outside the door. He looked closer and found that they were not snowflakes but many white flower petals. Through the glass door, they saw the flower petals float in the breeze as if there was a flower shower. At this moment, several pretty figures landed slowly from the sky. These people bring special effects with them wherever they go. Fang Qi froze. Who are they? Celestials. Stunned, Zhou Mo gaped at the entrance and saw an extremely beautiful woman wearing a black long dress landing on the ground outside of the shop flanked by a group of white-clothed female cultivators. As the only one wearing black among the women in white, the woman in black was very eye-catching. Two female cultivators pushed open the door while the two behind, who were holding flower baskets, tossed flower petals into the air. Fang Qi was dazed by the sight. Manual special effects. They brought not only special effects but also BGM, background music, as well. Fang Qi saw another 4 female cultivators walking into the shop after the woman in black while playing gukan, guhan, and pipa. TL note, they are all traditional music instruments. The woman in black standing in the center was extremely beautiful, and the other female cultivators were also pretty. Coming with these special effects, they looked like fairies descending from heaven into the shop. So beautiful! I can't believe that I can see such a beautiful goddess in this small shop. All the people sitting close to the entrance looked toward them involuntarily with exclamations. The women thought, yeah, they are stunned. We come prepared. Now, we have the advantage in terms of presence. Look at those guys in the shop. Seeing the reactions of the customers in the shop, Mo Xian felt smug as she smiled. Although her talent wasn't as high as Lu Ningyun's, her beauty was unrivaled. At this moment, she was proud of herself. Silently, she had imagined what would happen next. She would look up at the sky with a frost-like expression with her hands clasped behind her back, looking like an immortal. Then, she would say, I've defeated you with one move. Do you submit to me? Mr. Fang would kowtow toward her. I submit to you. Black Fairy's spiritual power is boundless, and your reputation stuns the Morning Star Sea realm. She would then reply, Humph. Since you know your place, I'll forgive you this time. Don't force my hand again. After reviewing this scenario in her mind, Mo Xian walked to the counter with a cold expression. She glanced around with cold eyes, and the atmosphere of the entire shop seemed as chilly as frost. Who is the shop owner? Her voice was extremely cold. It was completely silent. No one answered her, the shop fell silent instantly. She turned her head and saw a row of black-robed cultivators on her left. The leader wore a black cloak, with his hair falling to his shoulders. His expression was cold, and his eyes emitted a chilling and vicious light. The row of black-robed cultivators behind him had the same profound presences as if they had fought through mountains of corpses and seas of blood. The auras they emitted were frightening and ominous. She turned her head to the right and saw a middle-aged cultivator wearing a deep blue robe with a white forehead. With squinted eyes, his expression was chillingly solemn. Beside him was a middle-aged man who was smiling, but his smile sent chills down her spine for some reason. It looked like the teasing smile of an ancient ferocious beast who had its eyes on a prey. Ugh! Black Fairy snorted in displeasure. The people in this shop are so rude. Instantly, she released the huge suppressive aura of a true Lake Realm cultivator towards the people around her. Beside her, Zhou Mo felt as if a huge mountain crashed down on him with vicious force, and he was almost suffocated by this frightening presence. Bo! Boss! Zhou Mo said with difficulty. This woman is powerful. Mo Xian's lips curved up. You're weak. Then, she looked toward Fang Qi and was surprised that he was not affected. After sensing his cultivation strength, she was disappointed to find that he wasn't even at the Grand Ancestral Warrior realm. Little brother, did you defeat my useless junior sister with luck? Now that I came here in person, it's not too late for you to apologize. Ugh! Fang Qi froze. Mo Xian was displeased, feeling like something wasn't right. In the next instant, the auras of all the people around her shot up. The auras of the black-robed men on the left suddenly rose, some of them having cultivation strengths at the pinnacle stage of the true Lake Realm. The leader who wore the big black cloak was it. The Divine Ocean Realm. Then, the auras of the middle-aged man in the blue robe and the people beside him also shot up. Divine Ocean Realm again. Kid Fang, who's this girl? Baffled, Mo Tianxing looked over and revealed a trace of his aura. Another Divine Ocean Realm. So many cultivators of the Divine Ocean Realm. The female cultivators of the Nanhua faction felt chilled inside. They were lofty in the Nanhua faction, but this place wasn't the Nanhua faction. Seeing so many grand cultivators in this place, their hearts sank. That man's eyes are ferocious. Elder senior sister. It's said that the people in Half City are all demons who kill people without blinking an eye. Will we? Don't say it. I was fine before you said it, but now. Should we leave? Elder senior sister, you're different. You have the great dream of defeating that Lu Ningyun. You must hold on. You can't admit defeat. Elder senior sister, you can do it. Mo Xian nodded and said with gritted teeth, they are just cultivators of the divine ocean realm. Beside her, Black Demon said in a cold voice, don't you know the rules? Go and get in line. Okay. The other female cultivators instantly submitted, and they went to the rear to stand in line. Mo Xian was silent. Under everyone's stare, she moved to the rear and stood in line. They are uncivilized countrymen and don't know better. We will just ignore them. Another female cultivator comforted them, and their voices gradually got louder. Ugh! Several black demon guard at the pinnacle stage of the True Lake realm looked back with chilly eyes and released their full cultivation strengths. Instantly, the women felt like they were engulfed by a horrifying suppression, and they immediately shut up. Having finished his deal, Black Demon had a bowl of instant noodles in his left hand and a bottle of Coke in his right hand. Then, he looked at the female disciples of Nanhua faction up and down with chilly eyes. The frightening glint in his eyes and the hellish presence emitting from his body engulfed these low-level female cultivators who felt like small chickens swept into a storm in the ocean. A few female cultivators almost shrunk behind Black Fairy and hid there. Humph! The cold snort hit their hearts like a heavy hammer. Looking at the tall man in the big black cloak who began looking for his seat while drinking Coke, the women wondered, who is that guy? His aura is horrifying. At this moment, Xi Chenzhou of the Coiled Dragon office walked into the shop and frowned when he saw all the stuff on the ground since the neat and clean environment was a key feature that they liked about this shop. He yelled, "Sir! How come the ground at the entrance is so dirty? Why didn't you clean it up?" Fang Qi looked up and saw the mess at the entrance. "Who did it? Go and clean it up." "Why must we clean it?" A beautiful white-clothed female cultivator said in a cold voice, "You're rude." Ugh! At this moment, Master Tang Yuan and Second Master Tao Kun of the Yuanheng Pavilion had just finished their deals, and they bought a box of spicy sticks. While looking toward the women, Tao Kun sneered. "Mr. Fang has a mild temperament. If this happened in my Yuanheng Pavilion, the people who dare to make such a mess at the shop entrance would be tied up and their legs and hands would be broken before we hang them in front of the shop for 7 days and 7 nights with salt water dripping onto their bodies." "Hello! Master Tang and Second Master Tao. Nice to meet you," Xi Chenzhou said. "If anyone dares to do this in front of my Coiled Dragon office, they would have been beaten into a meat pie." A female disciple shook and said in a trembling voice, "This guy is also a cultivator of the divine ocean realm." Mo Xian said, "I know." Fang Qi scratched his head. According to the rules of the shop, any troublemakers would have their legs broken and their cultivations destroyed before being tossed out of the shop. I wonder if making a mess at the entrance is a kind of troublemaking. Break our legs. Destroy our cultivation. Looking around at the many grand cultivators of the divine ocean realm, the white-clothed female disciples' legs turned into jelly under these powerful auras, feeling as if they were a group of sheep surrounded by lions. While thinking of the consequences of having their legs broken and cultivation strengths destroyed in this place, they felt like many sneaky eyes turned toward them. Even Mo Xian was pale, and she didn't dare to declare that her true purpose here was to beat the shop owner. She screamed, "No! It's not making trouble!" The other female cultivators yelled in horror, "We'll clean it up now!" They hurried over to sweep the ground. At this moment, a beast carriage stopped before Fang Qi's shop, and Fang Qi felt like the big black dog that was dragging the cart was very familiar. A guy wearing a short vest got off the carriage, revealing himself to be Wang Xian, the carriage driver who had driven Fang Qi to this place. Ugh! Sir, your shop is getting more luxurious. He looked at the white-clothed beauties who were sweeping the ground at the entrance and said, even the janitors in your shop are as beautiful as fairies. Who are janitors? You're a janitor. Don't you have eyes? They exploded in a fury. After they cleaned up the ground, Mr. Fang had finished dealing with things and resumed playing The Legend of Mir 2. Zhou Mo asked, do you want to play games or watch a TV series? The female cultivators didn't answer, and Mo Xian's face looked so cold that it seemed to be covered in ice. Also, a storm seemed to be brewing in her chilly eyes. Ugh! When they kept silent, Zhou Mo asked curiously, are you not here to play games or watch a TV series? Senior sister, we're no match for them, so we shouldn't act boldly. A female cultivator murmured. Mo Xian froze. We're here to play games and watch the TV series. Yes. Yes. The others nodded eagerly, their legs were still soft under the suppression of so many cultivators of the divine ocean realm. Zhou Mo was feeling awkward. Do you want to play games or watch the TV series? They answered in unison, both. Both. After paying, they suppressed their fury and glared at Mr. Fang who was playing The Legend of Mir 2 while whispering to themselves, you can do nothing but hide behind the powerful cultivators. Shameless. Look. What's that guy eating? It smells so good. Elder senior sister. Look at this TV drama. So powerful. Nature is indifferent, it treats creation like sacrificial straw dogs. This guy can even fly while stepping on a sword. All of them were shocked by this scene. Inside Su Tianji's zone. Master, let me play for a bit. Didn't you say it wasn't fun? Feng Hua and Yuexin watched Su Tianji plant pea shooters and walnuts while humming some unknown tune. Wait a second. Su Tianji said, I'm going to pass level 20. After I pass another 5 levels, 5 more levels. I'll let you play. Okay. Then, we'll wait a little more. Look. The zombie is eating the walnut that Master planted. Haha. It looks so dumb. Sometime later in Half City, senior sister. Shouldn't we give the shop owner a hard beating to redeem the reputation of our Nanhua faction? We'll watch the TV series first. Watch the TV series first. Mo Xian had a vicious light in her eyes. After I master all the ultimate techniques in this TV series, I'll redeem the reputation of the Nanhua faction. At this moment, she began to imagine the scenario where she mastered the godly sword lightning controlling true spell, using it to beat all the big forces in the Origins Internet Club and Mr. Fang, who was hiding behind them, and also return to the faction and defeat the Nanhua Heavenly Fairy, Lu Ningyun, with one sword strike. Great heavenly power, turn into godly lightning and follow the direction of my sword. With a cold expression, Mo Xian chanted the incarnation in a low voice. The other female disciples shrieked in excitement, senior sister chanted the incantation perfectly. I think she's as good as Lu Sweki. She'll look majestic when she uses this technique. I'll turn off your computers if you yell again. Sitting nearby, Mr. Fang, who was annoyed by all the noises, roared impatiently. Humph! His cultivation strength is even lower than the ancestral warrior realm. I can beat him with one hand. If not for the grand cultivators of the divine ocean realm, senior sister would have defeated him long ago. The stuff in this shop is miraculous, I wonder which senior master created them, he must have benefited from that senior. Humph! Mo Xian snorted in disdain. The girls imagined many satisfying scenarios to alleviate their frustration of being interrupted by Mr. Fang. Let's continue watching the TV series. After we reach the realm of the earthly immortal, as Greenleaf Ancestral Master did, this scenario seemed distant, but it felt good to imagine it. After playing The Legend of Mir 2 for a while, Mr. Fang returned to Xone. Yuzuro. Yuzuro. Songqing Feng controlled Iora Yagami and copied this character's shout while using Shiki Yami Beret. On the other side, Lin Xiao controlled Kyokusanagi and leaped over the purple flames created by Shiki Yami Beret. Then, Lin Xiao pushed the joystick violently when Kyokusanagi landed on the ground. On the screen, a huge fire beam rose around Kyokusanagi. Desperation move Mu Shiki boom. Boom. You guys. Time is up. Loli Zhang Xiaoyu had watched them play for a long time, and she was disgusted with them for occupying the computer in her boss Xone. It's my turn to play Plants vs Zombies. After this match. Songqing Feng yelled, light kick. Kyuzukaze. Ugh. Why didn't I release it? Trash young master Song, you can't even use your moves. Watch me. Then, Su Luo said, ugh. The shop owner is here. Would you like to play a few rounds, sir? Let's do it. Mr. Fang was eager to play. I'll fight you with one hand. What? Zhang Xiaoyu exploded in fury. I want to play Plants vs Zombies. Why play Plants vs Zombies? Mr. Fang looked contemptuous. It's fun to play the king of fighters. Watch how I beat 3 guys senseless with only one hand. Then, he plunked on the seat. I will choose my characters randomly. Mr. Fang clicked on 3 question marks which represented 3 random characters. Hey! Get off! Displeased, Zhang Xiaoyu sat beside Fang Qi, trying to push him off with her petite body. She tried her best but failed. She pouted in anger, and her little face was full of disdain. I'll only play for 10 minutes. Mr. Fang compromised. Humph! Zhang Xiaoyu looked away in disdain. On the other side Master. Having watched for a long time, Fenghua and Yuexin asked weakly with tears on their faces, can you let us play for a bit? We can buy computers in a couple of days. Let us have a try first, okay? Just one try. Su Tianji had passed dozens of levels in one sitting. She felt like the game was average, it was simple and the zombies were stupid. However, she still wanted to play it. Why? It was thrilling when a big group of zombies swarmed up. Besides, it was a good scene after she created a big group of cute and silly plants to fight zombies. It was a totally different experience from those other fancy games which featured lifelike battles. Fenghua and Yuexin fought to play the game. I'll play it first. Hey! Let's decide with rock paper scissors. The girls waved their small fists. Your computer time is up. Ah! The 2 girls felt like crying. Su Tianji covered her forehead in embarrassment. Ugh! You can play it tomorrow. At this moment, Zhang Xiaoyu finally got to play Plants vs Zombies. Boss, do you know how to play this game? Zhang Xiaoyu had watched it, but she still felt uncertain since it was her first time playing it. Of course. It's a simple game. Why not? Put a pea shooter here. Mr. Fang directed her. Put it so far away. Zhang Xiaoyu was baffled. Put a sunflower here and try to create a line. Ugh! Why? Zhang Xiaoyu was confused. Some time later with intense background music, zombies walked leisurely into Zhang Xiaoyu's house. Zombies invaded your house mercilessly. Ah! Zhang Xiaoyu screamed when she heard the sound of the zombies gnawing brains. She glared at Mr. Fang angrily and bared her teeth, wishing that she could bite him. Scummy boss! What happened? What happened? At this moment, people like Ruan Ning and Xiu also came into Fang Qi Xone and saw Zhang Xiaoyu's sulky face. Hearing her recount the incident, they turned toward Fang Qi in unison and said in disdain, you even bully Xiaoyu. Old demon Fang is heartless. Scummy shop owner. Xiaoyu, don't heal him in the future. Ignore him. Let's play it. It's very simple. Okay. They dumped Mr. Fang and began enjoying the game themselves. They even sent a message in a small chat room named Morning Star Dajin small chat group where Mr. Fang wasn't a member. Scummy Mr. Fang even bullied Xiaoyu. He's heartless. Agreed. Old Demon Fang is heartless. He's an old pervert. Nalan Mingxiu sent 3 question marks. Then, she sent a message to Mr. Fang. What did you do this time? At this moment, Mr. Fang opened the door and walked out. After lighting a cigarette which he bought from the store in Xon, he leaned on the doorframe and took a puff. He spat out the smoke which floated up into the sky. Nalan Mingxiu walked in, nonplussed. Curious about what had happened, people like Song Qingfeng and Lin Xiao also came in. Hey! Sir, why are you here smoking all by yourself? What do you know? Mr. Fang exhaled a mouthful of smoke. I'm not smoking a cigarette but loneliness. Nalan Mingxiu touched her forehead. Song Qingfeng, Lin Xiao, Su Luo, in the 2 QQ groups named Morning Star Dajin Small Chat Group and Dajin Game Center, someone posted a picture of Mr. Fang leaning on the doorframe while smoking. Engulfed by smoke, he looked celestial. The words below the picture said, I'm not smoking a cigarette but loneliness. The shop owner is awesome. What can I say? He deserves this treatment. These words are a perfect match for his expression, very dashing. This kid is a damned genius, and Huey followed that up with an smiling face with open mouth and cold sweat emoji. After a while, a user with the ID of Junior Castellan posted a picture of an Huey smoking on a tobacco pipe in his Xon with the words, I'm not smoking tobacco but loneliness. An Huey tried hard to explain, very dashing. Nalan Hongyu also posted a picture of himself smoking on a tobacco pipe while he lounged on an armchair. I'm not smoking tobacco but loneliness. Some time later, in the Dajin royal family's internal chat group, a picture was posted with the words, I'm not smoking tobacco but loneliness. It was from Emperor Ji Wu. All the other members of the royal family fell silent.